All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ward Radio live stream. I am your host, Cardin Ellis. Today, we got a pretty killer stream, and we got to say, I told you so. I told you so. For those of you that were in on our members only live stream recently, we said that, hey, there's going to be a big hot topic. Dare I say a third rail will be touched. And it looks like it was indeed touched. Now, we're not going to say what little birdie spoke into our ears or anything like that. But me and Luke Hansen, we can say we told you so. So we've invited a killer cast here via Zoom to hang out with us as we do a little bit, as we start the first portion of our conference recap. All right. We got Spackman back. We got Connor's mom. We got Joy from the Women Award Radio, also known as Latter-day Saints for Life. We had them on about 6 months ago. It was a great, wonderful experience. And we're going to talk about a fiery sermon that was delivered recently. And just reserve the right to say, we told you so. And then talk to these ladies. Luke's going to jump in a little bit later. Hopefully Jonah Barnes will come back in and share some memes, along with Ethan Fawcett is on the docket. But we're definitely going to start with these ladies first. And yes, I am speaking funnily. I am speaking odd. And no, I did not have a stroke, but this side of my face is messed up because I did just have a cavity drilled. And the Novocaine has not worn off yet. So if I start drooling like Elephant Man, it's not because Mara Lee is so beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It's because dem drugs.
You're on drugs?
Yeah, because I'm on drugs.
Pardon,
So
it's okay. It's going to be the first time. Marilee's a stunner.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm talking
Marilee
about.
is beautiful. So, like,
dude, I saw those 1978 yearbooks signed by everybody in your high school. Dude, I know what's up. So anyway, start us out. Ladies, I noticed that on the YouTube channel, the conference talk we're about to talk about with you two had triple the amount of views and replays. So something's going on here. Tell us what's up.
Nice. Yeah, we were, super excited about it. We kind of had a little heads up as well. Not surprising that it's gotten a lot of attention. It's been a while since we have had a general conference on this talk. And what I loved about it was, he was clear. There wasn't wiggle room. He clearly stated the position of the church and, unapologetically laid it out. But I thought it was a very, beautiful and tender, loving way. I thought he handled it really well.
Yeah, I was so impressed with how it was delivered in such clarity, but also such a family-friendly way, obviously, as it needs to be in general conference, but without any lack of clarity.
All right. And Joy, whoo! What on earth did you think? Did you get your based talk you've been asking for a long time, or what?
You know what? I just appreciate the tact that he had as he approached this delicate topic of abortion, and that he laid it out very clearly, like, this is where we stand, but he was also very tactful, very thoughtful in the words that he chose and the way that he expressed it.
Okay. So like, why now? Why now? Like, why not 5 years ago? Because part of me just kind of thinks like, okay, this is a super cut and dry thing. Like, this is equivalent to Jesus is the Christ, right? Are we going to stop believing it anytime soon? No. Are we going to, settle on, oh, well, maybe he wasn't the actual son of God, or just like, stuff like that? No, not going to happen. And so to me, I thought it was kind of lame that you had to dip into the 1970s to hear very robust talks on this topic. And that was kind of a frustration. But at the same time, I thought, well, I mean, if our position hasn't really changed and it's kind of a tried and true position, should there be talks that often? Like, part of me just kind of saw the laissez-faire position as well. So I'm just wondering, why now? Why, after virtually like 40 years of relative silence on the subject, did all of a sudden we feel like, all right, we're gonna take a stab at this dragon again?
Well, I'll say a couple things. First of all, I mean, Elder Anderson did talk about it some 5 years ago, less than 5 years ago, not that long ago. And I do think it is something that our leaders are concerned about. Of course, we can only speculate at all of their reasons. Of course, we ultimately believe that the Spirit is going to lead and guide our leaders to tell us the things that are needful at the moment that we need it. But I also do wonder if, for example, the result of the last various statewide elections, which there were abortion measures on the ballot, and in some states, like my own state of Missouri, it went from being a very pro-life state, almost all lives were protected from conception, to free for all. There now any abortion for any reason is now allowed, and that was even the case in places like Arizona, where there are a lot of members. So it would make sense why the leaders would feel like our members need a reminder. But you hit the nail on the head, Cardin, that it doesn't. It felt a lot like in Elder Anderson's talk. He mentioned, our stance hasn't changed, and it probably did feel like they didn't need to say anything. But I really appreciated he came back and expressed that we would need to talk about this more and with more clarity in our wards, with our Relief Societies and Elders Quorum, but especially with our youth and in our families, saying that our youth want to hear our doctrines. They want to understand the sanctity of life and the tender but critical truths around chastity and around the sanctity of life that sometimes we just kind of tiptoe around, but we need to hear it. So I really appreciated that message.
Well, and I think also that we're seeing a rising generation coming up that is really struggling with this issue, that they're really getting a lot of input from throughout the world, and in a variety of ways with social media and their peers and everything. And so I think that is having an impact. I think the brethren are aware of that and are very concerned about our youth, that they are being taught true doctrine. So I think it actually was a really perfect time for them to, for him to step forward and reiterate that. And I also loved that he really emphasized the great need for support for these women and these families. I think that's a component that we don't often talk about, and he talked about it a great deal. I think that was a really pivotal, shall we say, cultural adjustment for the church as a whole to say, we should be a place of safety and security and support for women and families facing these circumstances. And I love that emphasis. We haven't always heard that before, and I think that that's really important because a lot of these youth are experiencing friends who find themselves in these positions, and they, may not be really sure how to react. So I thought that was really, really good.
Yeah, I love that he said that these women who are in these unplanned pregnancies, they need our hand. We can uplift them with our hands and our hearts. And he said specifically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. And it was just like, look, there are so many ways that we can support women who are experiencing these unplanned pregnancies.
Yeah, I was definitely digging that as well. I don't give any credence to these woke scolds and cry bullies because they do such excessive damage and they're horrible people. Just disclaimer. But one of the few arguments of the past 5 to 10 years that held a little bit of water, I think it was a disingenuous argument, but it held a little bit of water with me, is, that claim you're not actually pro-life, you're just pro-birth. If you were pro-life, you'd actually, believe in helping people afterwards and social programs and this and that. And that's actually where I'm like a pretty liberal guy. I actually believe in, having robust, as long as they're not corrupt and crappy, good social programs to give the very best equality of opportunity that we can offer every citizen and in our church, every child of God out there. So to see him kind of like reiterate that this isn't just like an argument about the birthing aspect of somebody's life on earth. This is also an argument about like, you need to just like I think it is worth completely rearranging your life to become a mother, and that nothing will be better and bring more happiness to you. Like no Juris Doctorate will, no, law firm promotion will. None of that will be as important to you in the long run, or as important to our Father in heaven or to society as you having a child. And it's worth adjusting your life however it takes to have that baby become a good mother. I also think for society, we do need to tell the society, hey, you may need to adjust your life to, it is worth it for us as a society to adjust your lives as much as necessary in order to reach out and to help these parents these new mothers, and like that is worth it. That is you know, just as noble a thing as well. So yeah, I thought it was fire. Have you noticed any any changes in church? Like, how has this affected the church in your in you ladies' view?
I mean, it's a little bit early to see if we're gonna get the impact that we're hoping for. I mean, I would hope that we would step up. I mean, you put it really well that there often needs to be a big rearranging of a family's life or a single woman's life, and even the people around her in her ward. We're really hoping to see that change, and we're also really hoping to see more wards and stakes ready and willing to have people like us or people in the ward come have like firesides about the sanctity of life, or to be more involved in service projects to support pregnant women. I mean, you think about all the other Christian groups that do so much to support pregnant women and to reach out to women who are considering abortion to help them make a different choice. That, I mean, it's crazy that we're not showing up more in a visible way, and I'm really hopeful that we're going to see more of that.
Well, and I think there was a needed course correction, which he made. And that is, he said, and I'll quote him, "Nurturing and protecting life that is yet unborn is not a political position. It is a moral law confirmed by the Lord through his prophets." I think that the church needed to hear that. I think that all the members and the leaders needed to hear that we don't dodge this because it has political overtones, that we don't, stay silent about this. And I talked about this the last time I was on, was, Satan has effectively muted the saints of God by attaching this political, moniker to it. And I think that he did that course correction. I think that's going to be really important and really helpful, that no longer can people just kind of, dodge the issue, not talk about it, including our leaders, frankly. We've encountered many leaders who have avoided the issue entirely because of the political overtone. So I think that course correction, we hope, is going to affect a systemic, church-wide change in how they view this topic and how they talk about this topic.
Okay, Joy.
I hope that kind of separated it a little bit of like, okay, this is the doctrine. This is not political. This is what God has told us. And, we'd be dumb to not recognize that there are a lot of political things around abortion. Like, that is a thing as well. But he's clearly saying, this is the doctrine. This is not political. But he didn't go into, therefore, this political thing needs to happen. Oh, hey, Brittany. Hello.
Hello.
But he didn't say, therefore, this is the exact political route that we need to take. He kind of left that open to, we've got to follow the Spirit. We've got to figure it out. But he was very clear on, this is the doctrine, which I appreciated.
So y'all knew this was coming. I wonder, like, I still don't have clarity on, like, okay, why now? Other than, okay, sure, maybe it was time. You'd like to think the Spirit guides that and everything. But, like, so you guys knew this was happening. We had heard that this was happening. I kind of wonder, is it just from, like, consultants that can't keep their mouths shut, that have had to try and help these people word it because it's a sensitive topic? You know what I'm saying? You kind of wonder, like, how that got out and how many fine-tooth combs this person's like. I don't even think he wrote more than maybe 50% of the words in this talk. The rest of it must have been like gone over by 15 diversity readers and 25 lawyers. I'm happy that it happened. You know what I'm saying? But it does kind of
give him more credit than that. Like,
you think
a
so?
smart guy. Yeah.
I know, but I mean, just like, man, I would have that thing double, triple, quadruple checked before.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I would have been like, I'm reading it if I were the prophet. So you say you haven't noticed a big shift in the church just from this talk, but you see how it could pave the way. And you hope that once that road is paved, Latter-day Saints will become a lot more active. I know Luke just went to Latter-day Saints for Life. And that was kind of like the first time that our church showed up.
For Life.
And Moss, yeah. What are some more things like the average member could do just to promote that kind of pro-life position? And you say you'd like to see them more visible. I think a lot of members kind of have evangelical burn, like they've tried to participate in the homeschool groups, but if it's an anti-Mormon evangelical in charge of the Facebook group, it doesn't matter how great the handbook you have or how much you're able to volunteer. Screw you, Mormon, you know, and you know, same thing goes for everything from missions for the homeless to initiatives that we could do with all kinds of people of faith. The second you add anti-Mormonism to the mix, it makes it hard to participate, especially when the pro-life position in America is so heavily staffed by evangelicals, right? So, like, what are some things you'd like to see us do that, like, an actual member you think has a good chance of doing?
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's exactly why we made this organization, because there are some overzealous Christians that don't want to let us in, and we understand where they're coming from, and we wish that we can.
But do we?
No, I do want to be friends with them. I do want to work with them.
Well, no, but do we really see where they're coming from? Like, are there any LDS
I
organizations?
can understand it. I disagree with them, but I know.
Oh no, but hold on. You know where they're coming from, and this is where I call BS. Name me one LDS organization that's a volunteer organization with a noble mission statement that says if you don't believe in our version of Jesus, you're disallowed from participation.
But I mean, I don't agree with them because I'm a Latter-day Saint. So I mean,
yeah. Well, I know. I'm just saying, like, oh well, no, I see where they're coming from. No, this is not normal. Like, this is not normal. Like,
anyway,
we don't do that to other people.
Okay, I will answer your question in twofold. Number one, that's why we're here. In fact, this Saturday we're holding our second annual Worldwide Latter-day Saints for Life conference. It will be in Utah, but we also have virtual tickets available. So we really encourage any Latter-day Saint to come. And the whole purpose of this conference is for people to find a way to be involved in the pro-life work. That's been our design from the beginning. We didn't know what this talk specifically was going to be about or anything, but like as in more specifically in pro-life, but we've been planning this for a long time, that we want our members to be showing up and finding a place in the pro-life work. We believe everyone can have a role in it, big or small, high time or high financial commitment, whatever you have to spare, or low on both of those. But if you come on Saturday, we're going to help you get connected with, first of all, ideas and resources from our organization, but also we have visiting organizations that are more friendly to us, and also ways that we can glean from what others have done and support them. Another good example is 40 Days for Life, which is underway right now, and they are very open and willing to have Latter-day Saints attend as well.
Which one is it? We got to give them a shout out. Who are they
40
again?
40 Days for Life. We love them. 40 Days for Life.
Great. That's how I started stuff, was doing the 40 Days for Life prayer, you know, where you go and you pray. But I kind of want to give you a little backstory here. It's very interesting. Last year we held our conference in March, and we were planning our conference for this year, and for some reason that none of us can remember, we moved the conference to the week after General Conference. And we've been planning this since last fall with the theme of how do we help people get involved in pro-life service? And so it was very interesting timing to have that come right after an apostle encourages us to, you know, step forward and lend love and lend support. And one of our champions is Elder Martinez from the Utah Area Presidency. He will be our keynote, and his wife, who is amazing.
And they're both doctors, by the way.
They're what?
They're both doctors.
Yeah, they're former doctors, and Sister Martinez is a lawyer, and so they're going to be and they are diehard pro-lifers. They're going to be speaking, but the whole theme of this conference is going to be, what do I do about it? You know, I'm pro-life, what do I do about it? What do I do next? And it's going to be phenomenal having all these organizations there and just tell them, here's what you can do. You can come to a March for Life. You can do a supply drive. You know, you can gather diapers. We're always in need of diapers. You can support legislation. You can be a social media warrior. We're going to have just gobs of ideas where everyone can kind of get down to the nitty gritty of what matches your life, what touches your heart, what work do you want to do. And as I said, I started out crocheting baby blankets. That's how I started, like a very long time ago. Thank you very much. But that's how I started in the pro-life work, was I crochet baby blankets, and now that's evolved to, you know, many other things. But the whole purpose of that conference and the whole purpose of Latter-day Saints for Life this year is to tell people how you can help. What can you do? How can you support? And I think it's marvelous getting our families involved, our children involved, our youth involved. There are a lot of great things that can be done, and nothing compares to helping save a baby's life. I mean, it's just phenomenal work. It really is.
Okay. We got to jump on some super chats here really fast, at least the ones that are relevant to you ladies. I know we only got you for another 5 minutes before we got to get Jonah and Luke in here. Enough woman-splaining, all right? You know, but anyway, Brittany, keepers of the chats, can you read Elder E's 2 super chats, Spencer Biddle's, and then also Heather Hunt's, and then we'll save the rest for when the boys are on, if you could read those. Also, quick reminder, everybody, if you are just coming into the live stream, please make sure that you guys smash that like button. I see that we got 83 likes. Well, we got like quadruple that amount of people here watching just on the tube of you, and all the other platforms we're streaming on. So please make sure that you guys smash that like button and share this with your friends. Hopefully this is a seminal moment in mid-2020s Mormonism here with our some really great conference talks here. So Brittany, keepers of the chats, catch us up.
Okay, so Heather Hunt says, I'm surprised how many women in church I know that post in support of a woman's right to choose. They freaked out over Roe v. Wade being repealed. What the heck?
Huh. I think all of us are in agreement. Any special thoughts? I see Joy about to speak. Joy.
Yes. This is something I've given a lot of thought to, and actually had been considering making a video on this topic. But here's my hot take, I guess, if you will. These women, whether they're Latter-day Saints or Christians or whatever, that tend towards the pro-choice side of things, I've found in my own experience that they are incredibly compassionate and incredibly concerned, especially with what we would call the exceptions. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of they're not evil. They're not, you know, they're not these very problematic people. They're very concerned about what this means. And I get that. And I love that President or Elder Anderson invited us to discuss this more. And I think in this more discussion, we can kind of hash out some of these concerns and help them see how, well, actually, we can be compassionate to people who are in the exceptions and still be very pro-life. Yeah, that's my hot take, I guess, if you will.
Whoa, that was super hot. I'm erasing it. We're gonna get banned, and it's gonna be your fault, Joy. That was
Great.
Right up there with the Boston Tea Party.
But no, I just feel like we like villainize these people that are pro-choice, and to be frank, like the percentage of people in the United States who are pro-choice, odds are you know someone who is pro-choice. You may even know multiple people who are pro-choice who might even be members of the church or might be fellow Christians. And if you think you don't, it's probably because they're scared to tell you. But they're not villains. They're just very concerned, and they might not understand what it is that this all entails. They might not understand there's a lot of confusion and a lot of people twisting words and twisting meanings, and it gets really messy, and you're like, hold on, this doesn't need to be this complex. But you know, they're concerned, and that's fair.
No,
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and that's why I think it was really important that Elder Anderson was so inspired to wrap his message, beginning and end, with love. That this is how the world will know us as Jesus' disciples, is by how we love one another, and that's what this truly is. The pro-life movement is not about hating people; it's about loving people, and I think we need to do a better job repackaging that as a message of love and compassion.
Yeah.
All right, awesome, Brittany. Last 3 super chats.
Okay. MK Bunny 8 says, as someone who has had an ectopic pregnancy, no heartbeat, thank goodness I didn't feel called out either.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, Brittany and I were one of that 1%. Like I'm kind of like, I totally see where you're coming from, Joy, and I think there are a lot of people who are like, oh, okay, well, you can't forget that, that minority of exceptions, and that's something that's beautiful and unique about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is we're able to address this holistically and say, okay, sometimes there are exceptions. Brittany and I, we're actually one of those too. Our stake president told us that he was going to actually march us down there. She ended up having a miscarriage and the pregnancy failed naturally, but like we were under orders from our stake presidency. I was
basically bleeding. I was in my second trimester and I was basically bleeding out and needed blood transfusions. And he said, look, this is not sustainable. Like, it's either going to end up in a miscarriage or we have to perform an abortion because you're not going to survive.
Yeah, you're on bed rest. And if your hemoglobin goes 1 point later, I am marching you down to the emergency room. And he said it like in this really funny kind of, I shouldn't say funny. It was a very serious topic. But looking back, I could see that he was trying to like navigate legal minefields. And so he looked at us and he said, as somebody who understands you very well ecclesiastically.
Yeah, I think he even said, like, as your doctor and as your stake president. Like...
No, he didn't say as your stake president. He avoided that.
Oh, he did?
But, no,
that's right, because he was both, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So, I mean, our stake president literally was our OBGYN. He caught Ryder like a football.
He was a counselor. But
you know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, sorry. He was in the stake presidency. But, like, yeah, he set us down and he said, in pioneer times, you would have died in childbirth or this would have killed you. And he said, if your hemoglobin drops 1 more point, he said, as somebody who is your doctor and also understands the ecclesiastical complications of this, not complications, but criteria of this, he says, ramifications. Yes. He was like, I'm telling you, we will have to do this. Right. And so fortunately for us, I mean, unfortunately, it ended naturally, and she was on bed rest after 3 weeks.
But I didn't have to make that choice, thankfully.
Yes,
so,
exactly. Yeah. So our heart goes out to anybody that actually does, and I'm very glad to hear that. What was her name? Says she didn't feel judged. MK Bunny.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, good on MK Buddy's ward and the culture of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints surrounding this issue. That's great to hear. And then last super chat for these ladies.
Okay,
hit it.
I have a few more. Spencer Biddle says, teaching true doctrines will change hearts and behaviors. Elder Anderson's talk was one of many examples of this, plain and simple to understand.
All right. And then Elder E.
Elder E. He said, I loved Kieran's talk, but I am feeling conflicted on abortion. I honestly feel more aligned with abolitionist position, but I feel I may be going on against Christ himself if I mostly reject the more moderate pro-life position of the restored church. I'm trying to understand what he was saying.
Okay, I'm trying to unpack that. Abolitionist, like no abortion whatsoever.
I think so.
And then more moderate, saying like what?
Like mother's life, rape, and incest. So I think he's saying,
for these exceptions.
I think he's saying he feels more like all abortion is wrong. I think is what he's saying.
A lot, among our members, that there is a little disparity of opinion. For example, some, say, well, if I were raped, I would not have an abortion. And so there is a little bit of a nuance in there. And so some people struggle with the position of the church with the exceptions. But I think that the talks that we have, particularly one by President Oakes, where he really talks about why these exceptions are there. And what I love is they don't say, oh, that's absolute carte blanche, go get an abortion. No, they say, go counsel with your leaders. You pray about it in those very, 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 very minor circumstances that are maybe 1% to 2%. Even then, it isn't just a carte blanche. But we really try to focus on the 99% of elective abortions that are going on. We feel that that's just a really critical arena. Obviously, that's what Elder Anderson was really emphasizing, was what is our response in those circumstances. And it's love and support and understanding the doctrine and cherishing life. I love how he closed. He said, the diminishing love for unborn children worldwide is a grave concern. God cherishes life. I thought that was just so beautifully said. That if we're confused, if we're not sure, we know that God cherishes life and that's what we need to support.
I've always loved the church's position simply because to me, it's like the natural one. It's like, yeah, every once in a while there's medical advancements that can detect potentially lethal situations. And, we're not going to prioritize a possible life over an actual life that exists right now. That's, a moral area decision that sucks to be made. But from, a bird's eye view, that's the moral decision that should be made. All other aspects of this question are a no-no. Like, to me, it's so natural. Like, it just... Naturally, all humans hate war. We recognize sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes you get invaded. Sometimes you're attacked. So should we outlaw war altogether and all of us become like the anti-Nephi Lehis? No, that's stupid. That's silly. Sometimes war is necessary. Now, should we be more mongers? Absolutely not. But there are exceptions to when war is a just thing and you just have to do it. So I always love the church's opinion on this. Two more really fast before you ladies go that just came in. Can you read Kyle's and Crandall Logan's?
Yeah.
Sometimes I just think also in reaction to that one guy super chat, sometimes I feel the people that were like really hardline on it, it's just because they're absorbing the Protestant culture around us, and it was like a reaction to I think it was a reaction to the like, A word on demand industry becoming so popular. I think it was like people felt like because the pendulum had swung so far this way that like now we're celebrating it and putting it on t-shirts. The opposition felt like that it needed to come out this way in order to like counterbalance it and hopefully have people in the middle. But in reality, it's like, no, you need to stay where you're at and hold firm, right? So last two super chats, babe, hit it.
Okay, Kyle says, just want to point out that Anderson did not clearly reject being pro-choice. Promote abortion is different from being in favor of something being legal. I know pro-choice folks who are anti-abortion.
I mean, if you really wanted to take the personal freedom argument, that's fine. But then you'd have to apply it to firearms and the Second Amendment, and then a lot of the logic just falls apart. But if you really, really want to take that stance and say like, oh, let's make ourselves like the Roman Empire, fine. You know what I'm saying?
You could take that stance also if you want to oppose the prophet, though, because he also said that governments that legalize abortion incur the wrath of God.
Yeah, our favorite quote, the wrath of God quote.
There you go.
I don't think that, I know they would like to think that, but I do not think that Elder Anderson left the door open for saying pro-choice or pro-abortion is an acceptable viewpoint. He said, we believe in choice, we love agency, but for righteous choices, and that does not include, taking the life of an innocent baby. So I think he was really very clear. I don't think that and I see people that say, well, you can be pro-life and pro-choice or pro-abortion, and I think, I don't know how you can reconcile those two. I really don't. I know, they say, well, I wouldn't do it, but I'm okay with other people doing it. I mean, imagine that chain of logic with a 3-year-old. I wouldn't kill my 3-year-old, but I'm okay if someone else wants to. I mean, that logic just does not work. It does not compute.
Okay, last two super chats, babe, before they go, and then we're gonna get Luke and Jonah in here.
Okay, well, Jordana, I think I'm gonna use that for the next.
Yeah,
part.
The next ones.
Okay,
Do Crandall, Logan, and Mag Larson.
Okay, Crandall. Not that it's necessarily right, but what about removing and placing the baby in an external uterus and banning the big A word, like Matt Walsh says? I don't know about that one.
Whoa, that's super sci-fi. I don't know how Matt Walsh would suggest we get that many surrogates.
That's like every sci-fi movie that does not end well for the world.
We would have just like a world of 4 million surrogates. Like now,
no, I know there's some research and they're like really trying to make it like an artificial womb. I don't think it's anywhere close enough that that's a reality.
So what? We're like in the Matrix on like these pod barns, or just like.
Well, more of like, okay, you had to deliver your baby very prematurely. Let's see if we can make something to, try and make an artificial womb to help the baby grow a little bit longer. But I don't think we're anywhere close enough that that's a reality yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rock on. Next one. Last one for these ladies. Hit it.
Mag Larson 7 says, abortion is taking a life. Sometimes it is necessary. I would take a life to save someone. As prior military, my job was to prepare for that moment.
Oof.
Well said.
Savage. I'm digging Mag Larson. So I wonder what their job was, you know, because like, you know, some military dudes, they're just, you know, the dude that drives the truck that delivers the septic fluid to the forward operating base. You know what I'm saying? And they punch their card, they get those 3 years in. And then there's people like, you know, like Rachel's husband that just like stack bodies like it's cordwood in the wintertime. And they, you know, Montana, it's just like, geez Louise. I wonder what his gig was. So, all right. Any last thoughts before? Oh, Joy.
Yes. Last thoughts. So I actually went through on YouTube and Instagram, and I was looking at all the comments on this talk. Like, how are people reacting? There were a lot of positive reactions, which I was grateful for. But I was curious what people were having issues with. And I will tell you the number one issue that was brought up in the comment section that I saw, this was not an empirical study here, but the number one thing that I saw was that this was all focused on women's responsibility. It's all women, and like, where is the accountability for these men, especially in this story of the unfaithful husband, of like, well, why couldn't he just keep the law of chastity in the first place? Then we wouldn't be having this conversation. And I think that's something that we can touch upon briefly. But I pulled up, oh, dang it, I just deleted it. Maybe.
Give us the TLDR. Give us the TLDR.
Okay, sorry. I pulled up a website that searches General Conference and can tell you how many times something has been addressed. And for abortion, I don't think it has the most recent, I'm going to say it doesn't have the most recent conference in there, but it had 154 references since 1850s. And for chastity, it had... I lost it. Let me see if it'll pull it up really quick. But, oh, there you go. It had 520 references since 1850s. So I think it's safe to say we have clearly talked about like, chastity is absolutely important. It is absolutely, like, this is absolutely a commandment of God. But there are also responsibilities that, because of the way God designed our bodies, women are responsible for our pregnancies. That just... Sorry, that's how God made it. Like, so I don't know. There were several other concerns that people brought up in the comments, which I thought were interesting. But that was far and away the most common one.
All right. Brittany, you're going to say something?
Yeah, but I don't know if I want to say it on a live stream.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Think about it.
Know.
I was about to. I was like, oh.
You know, think about it.
Can I respond to that, Joy?
Yeah, hit it.
Go for it.
Just that I think it may be most telling of a culture that insists that abortion is only a women's issue and men have no say in it. And then as soon as someone talks about the pro-life side, then the men get slammed suddenly, like if they're responsible again, which is, it's very, I don't know, it's just moving the goalposts, I guess. But in our church, we're really clear that, you know, fathers need to show up for their families. And I mean, even in this story, it sounds like this dad was working to repent, and he was presumably going to raise this baby and learn to find life out of this heartbreaking situation and to find repentance through his sins. And I'm just really floored and impressed by the amazing example of the women in that story, and of all the women who choose life despite their really difficult circumstances a lot of the time. And I can really respect and understand that. I don't have easy pregnancies at all. If I didn't have the husband I had and the spiritual upbringing I have, I don't know what I would have done when I got pregnant with my first. It's so crazy. So I hope that anyone who is listening who isn't sure how they feel about abortion, or they think that maybe it's too harsh on women to be pro-life, just to know that, like, God really wants to love and help each person involved in this situation, and the foundation of the family, as he's laid out in the Family Proclamation, is what is going to bring the most healing and joy to everybody, despite all the fallen situations we find ourselves in.
All right.
It's really personal to me. Just last week, I found a document in going through my family history stuff that I had never seen before, that my mother contracted measles when she had me and was advised to have an abortion. She was told that I would be an imbecile and never amount to anything. And my mother rejected that and said, I'll take my chances, and chose life. I never knew about that literally until just like about a week and a half ago.
Wow.
And I was stunned that my mother had made that choice of, no matter what I turned out like, if I was severely disabled or whatever, that she and my father obviously were committed to see that through. And I have to tell you, all my pro-life service has taken on new meaning, because I think what a courageous woman, my mother was, and courageous father, that they would step forward and continue to choose life for me. And here I am. Ended up fairly well. I only act like an imbecile a little bit of the time. And it just added such a new feeling and emotion to this wonderful pro-life work that we do in supporting women and men and families in choosing and making this choice of life. It really has been incredible.
Yeah, I think abortion, it is obviously such a hot topic, but I think, and it can get very heated too. Like, I'm even reading some of the stuff in the chat, like there's a whole battle going on. But I think once you can put people's faces to the debate, right? Like seeing you, right? Like, you could have been aborted, but here you are, and you're alive and you're doing amazing things. And then, like, you could look at me and be like, my life was seriously in danger. Luckily, I didn't have to choose the abortion, but I was this close to having to make that choice. So I think once we see faces on both sides, we can just show more compassion to each other.
Yeah, the same thing that happened to you, Marilee, happened to Brad Whippeck. They apparently his mother was, basically pressured and nudged, like, are you sure? You just had another kid, like, 11 months ago. That's kind of hard as a mom. Are you sure you don't want to give yourself more time? And like, she was like, no. But that was actually just because he was Canadian. He was going to come out Canadian, and so that's why the doctors were like, no, I'm just totally kidding you. But no, apparently I can't remember the exact part of his story. And there's two of these in his family. One had been like, some family member were like, supposedly they were said he was going to have Down syndrome, and then like he didn't. He just ended up being normal. And they were happy either way to have either a child, a traditionally healthy one, or one with Down syndrome. But like, the fact that others may have been, counseled under the auspices of, mental imperfection to terminate that pregnancy breaks his heart. And then also, he's like, yeah, I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad my mom chose to have me in the situation that was his, So anyway, we got Dr. Apocryphus in the chat, who's going to do his duty and welcome all the new members. If you have any last thoughts before we go, and I put up your graphic here for this cool event you're having. Any last thoughts, Marilee, Jessica?
Yeah, I want to share a special discount code with anyone who wants to come to our conference. Use the code Anderson. That's an E-N. Most people don't spell his name right. It's E-N. Anderson. Get $5 off. We really want to see you there. And we hope that you'll be inspired. And either way, we hope that you'll follow along with us and feel united with Latter-day Saints around the world, because you're not alone in being pro-life. There are a lot of us.
All right. Awesome.
Something I would say, he encouraged us to talk about it more often. Please, in your families, in your wards, start talking about it more often.
Awesome. Their names are Marilee Boyack, mother and legal guardian of Connor Boyack, because apparently is he under house arrest still?
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding. I was just totally kidding. I said, is he under house arrest still? It was a joke.
I think he's off of that.
Well, it's a
funny.
relief. It's a relief knowing that somewhere out there he has a legal guardian. Woo!
Yes. He's not quite Britney Spears, but some of those Sunday musings, I'm like, I just, do we need to call your mom, Connor, Do we need to call your mom, bro? Are you gonna lead the rebellion? No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, we got Marilee Boyack here, Jessica Spackman from Latter-day Saints for Life, with commentary by one of the women of Ward Radio, Joy Hansen. Thanks for hanging out with us, ladies. We look forward to seeing you next time. Jonah, can you welcome all of the new members?
Well, yes, of course. We have just received the records for Ostianus. What a cool name. I don't know what language that is. Like Greek? Is there some Greek in there? I don't know. All those who would like to welcome Ostianus into the Word Radio Worship, please do so by putting a W in the chat. We are thrilled to have you here, Ostianus. And mine doesn't go any higher than that. If there were other members who joined, I can't see you. But we have a lot of content coming out for members only, early content for members only. So please remember to renew your memberships if you get them, and be a part of the Ward Radio Worship. Be one of us. Stand and be counted.
Yeah, I'm looking at everybody. There was D. Tongan Tayava. Welcome to the Basic Celestial Ticket. Stacy Beach, Tanner Smith, Kyle Carson, and then, yeah, you got Ostianus. Yeah, so all of those, Tanner, Stacy, and T. Welcome. And
we've experienced an explosion of memberships in just the past week, which is apropos, as we will be talking about in this general conference stream, with what's been going on in the church at large. So
yeah,
everybody's winning.
And then I guess we got Luke coming on here pretty soon too. As we're waiting for him really fast.
Speaking of winning, Luke is coming on.
Yeah, I know. Aren't we freaking stoked? Although I don't know.
Caught up in super chats.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's get caught on super chats. And hey, Joy can hang out with us and maybe even participate in some of these super chats until Luke shows up. We got one of the Women Award Radio here. We're stoked.
Actually, we need to make sure in those super chats, people, make sure you put your vote for the name of Joy's baby that she's about to have. Okay?
Yes.
We're going to decide that name right here. They've said that they don't want to name it. They want to give it to the channel. So go ahead and put it in the chats right here, okay? And whatever gets the most votes.
Worst answers only.
We're going to...
Hey, I was about to say Cardin is a great unisex name, regardless of, male or female.
Cardina?
No, Cardin. There's boys and girls named Cardin.
Yeah.
It's like Renee or Courtney. We've got a friend that's a boy named Courtney. We got a friend that's a girl named Courtney. Same with Aaron. There's boys that are Aaron, women that are Aaron.
We'll put that on our list to consider.
Oh, Joy. Look, hey, you're on this stream. Okay, this is the worship. We're a family. Yeah. Okay, this is a family decision. All right. Oh, she just walks right away.
She walks away after dunking on my name, on my namesake. She just walks away.
I don't know what's going on, man.
You need to get your wife under control, Luke, is what you need to do.
Yeah,
you need to give her the double clap. The double clap. They love that. When you just go, honey, you give the double clap. Works every time.
I thought the snapping. Like, hey.
What's the double clap? What's
double clap? Sweetheart, sandwich. Give a little double clap.
Oh my God.
Double clap. It's perfect. It works every time. It's really great.
Oh, that's funny. Although, it's really funny. My grandpa, he always had this thing where he'd whenever he wanted refills, not refills, he always had this mush in the morning. And he was
grits or something?
Yeah, it was some kind of grits, kind of like cream of wheat mixed with oats or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I love cream of wheat.
Yeah, cream of wheat is some tasty stuff. He dug it too, and my grandma made a very unique. She would mix brown sugar with butter in a very specific way, and it was the tastiest meal you ever had. It was this way my grandma made. She called it mush, and it was this cream of wheat oats mixture that it was divine. I'm not kidding you. To this day, her waffles and her mush are some of the best breakfast that you'll ever have, right?
Okay, but don't call it mush. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. It sounds kind of ugh. But as he got older and he lost more of his speaking skills, he would take it and be like, and he would just bang the bowl on the table, and he'd be like, Karma, because it was empty. That's the way of saying he wanted more mush. To be like, Karma, mush. And I was like, that wasn't as bad as the double clap. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't as bad as the double clap.
Double clap. They love the double clap.
Okay. Should we put that in our Mansplaining 101 book?
Double clap me and I'll never make you another sandwich again.
Yeah, for real. So anyway,
but we are thrilled tonight to have the fourth and fourth semi-annual Ward Awards. Ladies and gentlemen, we're thrilled. This is the fourth conference that we have done this for, and it is going to be amazing. We've got some great awards coming, some great memes coming. Boy, you're not going to believe who won the awards this round. It was an exciting conference, and we had baby calves, we had shark attacks, we had baby attacking babies. We had all kinds of things going on in this conference. So stick around, like the stream, share the stream, because it's gonna be amazing. We got the serious part out of the way with the pro-life stuff with Anderson. Did an amazing job, even though he spells his name wrong. Amazing job. And we're gonna get to the rest of it here. So stick around and like the stream.
Okay, Cardin, you're gonna have to scroll up because we skipped some of the super chats because they weren't
Okay,
germane to the conversation.
I'm all the way up. So E-Dog says we need to talk about how many times they talked about the 10 virgins parable.
Yeah.
Kept thinking of Andrea Woodmansey's podcast episode. They're definitely trying to tell us something. Oh, the 10 virgins. What'd you guys think?
Well, and they just made that statue too. I saw that on the General Relief Society. There's now a 10 virgins statue.
Did you see that, Cardin?
Is it like I saw a picture of it, but it
actually
was
only a statue of the 5 wise virgins.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they're filling out everything around Temple Square bit by bit. It's getting finished, and so they're putting up different statues and scenery all around. And so just like a couple weeks ago, the 5 wise virgin statue got unveiled. They did, like a little church newsroom thing. And then it just felt like the statue was, I don't know, it was like the talk of the church office building or something, because like every single talk after that was just talking about the parable.
Okay, cool. I
of
saw
the
it.
virgins.
It looks cool. I like the church's artwork generally,
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had any really like heinous missteps. They kind of keep it classic. They keep it bronze, and I'm down. I'm down. So
the first vision statue at Temple Square is pretty sweet. They have it so that you go onto a dirt path, and they put young trees in. So in about a decade or so, there'll be kind of trees all around, and so you're on the dirt with the trees all around, and then it like flows very well. So if you stand at Joseph, the whole statue kind of flows up to God the Father and Christ kind of floating in the air. It's pretty cool.
rock on. Kyle Carson says, glad to be here. Thank you for joining, my man. Oh, been a member for a month. Rock on, Kyle. And then Prodigal Son Matt says 300,000 plus baptisms. Just think, thousands were converted in part from Ward Radio. You've also helped us share and boldly defend the gospel. Let's get to 350,000. Ooh, that's Prodigal Son Matt up in the chat. What do you guys think about that one?
Safe to say most of those were because of our memes. I'm pretty sure you can draw a straight line. It was
because of Prodigal Son Matt. That's what it was.
Yeah, he's probably 349,999 of those.
Yeah, by the way, Matt, this guy is putting, if you don't know this, Prodigal Son Matt is putting invitation cards in 6-packs of beer and putting them back into the coolers for people to pick up when they pick up their beer, and they find a little come follow me card, a little contact your local LDS church card. He's doing his part.
Yeah. So what I do is I go to strip clubs, and then afterwards, you know what I'm saying? I just leave them wedged in the doorway.
Yeah, it's for the cause.
It's exactly for the cause.
It's for the cause.
And I can't think of a more noble effort in the vineyard of our Lord.
Very
than that. Look at this.
So, how about those memes, Jonah?
Okay, we got tons of memes, people. We got tons of good memes. Are we done with
What's it
super
like
chats or
hanging
what?
out with Cardin Ellis and Ward Radio, Brittany? Oh, I don't know. We just, shoot the breeze.
That's funny. All right, another super chat we got really fast is from Ed2776. He said, the talks that had me feeling the Spirit very strongly. All right. Oops, got to reload that. Hold on a second. The talks that had me feeling very strongly. It just dropped it for a second, but I'm coming back. Here we are. Elder Renlund, Sister Smith, Elder Vargas, Elder Uchtdorf, President Nelson, not saying the others were duds, but was crying and feeling the Spirit more. I do have to say that's something I appreciated about this conference is there were no, at least for the parts of conference I did not sleep through. That there was not any like just dear heavens, when will this end talk? You know what I'm saying? Like they were all pretty good. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, there's a meme coming. I feel it. Jonah has a.
I generally think
I might
that
have
they
to
are.
go delete a meme. Hang on.
Oh, really?
Theory. So I have a theory. It hasn't been proven true, but it hasn't been proven false. That if you have to sit like on the couch. You can't be up around doing chores, listening in the background to every single session. 3 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. If you sit through all of those on the couch attentive the whole time, all 10 hours, you get translated just immediately. Yeah. The thing is, nobody's ever done it before. And so we can't know if the theory is true, but pretty sure it is.
Yeah. Ed2276 continues and said, I got great insights and guidance from all the talks, but those I mentioned were really wow for me. Yeah, it seems like there were some big wowers there for a lot of other people, and a lot of folks shared your sentiments. Spencer Biddle says, oh no, we already got him.
I'm curious which one the Vargas one is. I'm not good at knowing the names of the 70s in the talks.
Oh. Elder E says, I loved Kieran's talk. Oh, no, we already got that one. Okay, Jordiana Bell. Can you continue with Jordiana Bell, Brittany? I know you want to save that one for when the guy showed up.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to scroll.
In the meantime, we are thrilled to have
I don't
received the
see it.
records of Brother Chase Johnson, the Wizard of Wealth, the Ark is Steady, Stacy Beach, Benjamin Sadler. Oh, wait. Benjamin's already a member. E-Dog 88, Jonathan Ashcroft, P-Bot at Magic Valley Muse, JT. That's the mighty Jor. Hey, Jor. Nosko Borg. Good grief. Maggie Hun, Mary Nauta. This is Mary doing this again. Mary, you are incorrigible. You know?
Yeah,
I
is that
love
Mary
Mary.
Lou Howarth?
This is
Howarth.
Marie Lau.
Howarth?
Yes.
What did we say last time?
De-emphasize the
Howarth.
ho. It's not Howarth. It's Howarth.
Howarth. Okay, Mary Lou Howarth.
Hawarth.
Rock on.
Hawarth.
Oh, it's
Mary Lau Hawarth.
Oh my gosh.
Great job.
Mary
All
Lou
those who would like to welcome-
Howarth.
All those who would like to welcome these new members into the Ward Radio wigwam, please do so with an uplifted W.
All right.
W times 10 for 10 more. Make sure you renew your memberships, people.
Mary
We are
Lou.
So unserious. I can't even sometimes.
Okay, you got another one? Are we all caught up, babe? Are we all caught up?
I don't know. The chat's a flying. My thumb's not flying fast enough. I don't know.
Jordiana Bell. She says, this is the last one, and then we're all caught up. Jordiana says, how do you recover after falling for the tragic ongoing trend of Twitter debates with jerks who seemingly clairvoyantly nail the most intimate part of your testimony? Apparently one Jay Dyer. I don't know who that is.
We don't know. It's like
Oh.
jerks coming after us.
I know who Jay Dyer is.
Oh, what? Did we actually just step on some Twitter landmine and not?
Sort of. He's actually beyond the Twitter sphere. He's an ortho bro, I think is what they call him.
Usually the ortho bros are
Orthodox
cool.
dude.
What's an ortho bro?
Actually, the online ones are fairly militant. And he just has this, the dude knows his stuff. Like, he can quote you all the councils and the fathers and the interpretation of the hypostatic union in John 10:6. Like, he knows his stuff, but he just, like, insists on being a jerk about it and holding, like, these debate me bro live streams where he just, like, brings on random people and he controls the microphone and just, like, insults them and quotes a ton of church councils at him and then kicks them off and brings the next person on. And he's a piece of work.
If I had to defend the
quite
hypostatic
something.
union, I'd be a jerk too.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Savage. I just looked this guy up right here. And there's there's our boy. Is this something where I should invite him into the Ward Radio Wigwam to have a conversation?
Jay Dyer
or-
is joining us live here on Ward Radio.
That's Ethan.
Oh, that's Ethan Fawcett.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
but what's an ortho bro?
Like an Orthodox bro. So the Orthodox Church.
It's an orthopedic surgeon.
Sure.
Somebody
That
who
one
has
too.
But like
It's-
Orthodox, what religion? Orthodox Jew? What are
Oh,
we
well,
talking
okay.
about?
So back when
The
there was
Ortho-
the
there's-
schism between
like-
the Catholic Church and then the Byzantine Church,
So
that
the word
became
Catholic actually means universal, but nowadays there's a specific church that we call the Catholic Church with like a capital C. Same with Orthodox. It can mean like following all the tenets of your faith, but then there's an actual faith that's separate from the Catholic Church called the Orthodox Church that is most similar to the Catholic Church, but has differences. One of which is that they don't see themselves as being under the authority of the Pope.
Now, Brittany, if you're not aware, when Jesus Christ said to Peter in Matthew chapter 16, he said, "The gates of hell shall not prevail against this church." What he was really talking about is the great schism that started in 1053 when Patriarch Michael I of Cerularius of Constantinople ordered the closure of all the Latin churches in Constantinople. And in 1054, he sent a papal legate along with Leo IX, and they went to Constantinople with the order, among other things, to deny Cerularius the title of ecumenical patriarch. And he was behind everybody's back. The Byzantine Emperor Constantine IX of Monomachos was supporting the usage of unleavened bread. And this patriarch opposed the usage of unleavened bread. And so on the road there, Cardinal Humber de la Silva, OSB, actually excommunicated him from the church. That's what Jesus Christ had in mind when he said the gates of hell will not prevail.
Okay. I got to be honest with you. I tuned out after you said my name. But if you could just start over and repeat all that.
This is basic
You're actually
Catholic
not that
apology.
far off, Jonah.
I'm not that far off. I just...
If I'm not mistaken,
that's
it was
literally the great schism.
Thank you for clearing that up. I
thought it was the iconoclast debates of the 10th century.
Which
that was the big
culminated in
the
it
Pope Leo.
It was a cardinal on the road. He was just like on the road, and he got insulted by the Byzantine patriarch, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well you're excommunicated." And that's the great schism.
So he got Tim Ballarded before Tim Ballarding was done on Vice News.
No,
it wasn't even the Pope versus Pope. People were like, it's Pope versus Pope. It wasn't even Pope versus Pope. It was like the Pope's like courier. The courier just got angry and he's like, "Oh yeah, well me." I mean, Leo IX was dead before the legate even got. Anyways, Brittany, that's what Jesus had in mind.
I'm sorry I asked what an ortho bro was. That went on a real long tangent, and I tuned it out, and I'm sorry.
It's kind of funny to listen to Orthodox and Catholics versus each other. Like, one of the big things they disagree on is if the Spirit proceeds from the Father or if he proceeds from the Father and the Son. And they have like different versions of the Nicene Creed that like take that phrase out if you're Orthodox, but they put it in if you're Catholic.
It's like listening to
technical, theological.
It's like listening to a Linux programmer and a Java programmer argue about what the better language is. You're like, oh my gosh, do people care about this? Like, what are we talking
Except
about?
it doesn't turn into a conversation about Star Wars after that.
Okay, cool. So we're going to keep going on the super chats. Brittany, hit it.
Okay, I think we're on Kim Young.
Yep, Kim Young.
Okay, for Jonah. Hey, Jonah, does your wife make great cookies?
Yes.
I feel like, is that a euphemism for something,
know.
Kim? Like, no, I'm just kidding. So apparently she does. I cannot vouch, so she is failing. I expect a shipment sometime soon.
Yeah, Charlotte, if you're listening.
Yeah.
I mean, where's your...
Yeah, exactly.
A cookie box.
So Falter Media says the Connor Boyack x Britney Spears comparison deserves its own deep dive. I think you're on to something.
Sorry, are you taking over the chats?
Look,
that's hilarious.
I don't call it mansplaining because that's
Where's
not,
the candle? I'm the keepers of the
I'm just exercising. I'm just power in the priesthood.
Hey, look, keepers of the chats. If you want to be keepers of perpetual super chats, then get on it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can't scroll. I lost them all. I
you're
don't know
the
what
one
the
that
chats
went
are.
on
You
that
got one
huge long
job,
tangent,
you got one
Jonah.
job.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Fidget the Crazy. Bartholomew, Mordecai, Time, Renesmee, Blood Rain, Gonzo, Kermit. That awful name that Elon decided to subject his child that everyone makes fun of him for. Oh, okay, we're talking about names for Joy's baby.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Great.
dear.
Okay.
Gonzo Hansen.
Not bad.
Huh? Blood Rain.
So
Blood Rain Hansen.
So I like Reagan, and so I was trying to pull my children over to that name.
Yeah.
To name
That's
her
my
that.
niece's name. I love Reagan.
See, there we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, look,
Cute.
I didn't know if you saw. Reagan's actually not on the list. It was Bartholomew, Mordecai, Time, Renesmee, Blood Rain, Gonzo, Kermit.
But see, the problem is that I almost had my two other kids on board with it, and then somebody started whispering in their ear, and now they are opposed to it. And they don't even remember the other name that's on the list. But whenever I say, oh, like baby Reagan is kicking, they're like, no, Dad, no, it's the other one, the other name. That's the one that's not Reagan. Like, come on.
I think it would be
So-
awesome if you named him Andrew Jackson or John Fitzgerald.
Those are the next ones. So yeah, it can be Reagan, and then if it's a boy next, we'll have Jackson, and then
Warren Porter
Harrison.
Orrin Porter Hanson.
No, he's not a U.S. president, so
Yeah,
Well, that's a
Or
pretty
should
bad
have been.
name.
Should have been.
Okay,
The
next
U.S.
chat.
presidents were mortals.
Yeah.
Okay,
Next chat. Go. Keep going.
Benjamin-
Burn through them, babe.
Benjamin Sadlier says, Jonah, thank you so much for Keys to the Keystone. It's such a flippin' good read, man. Tremendous.
Whoa, watch your language, Ben. This is a family program. Jeez. Who are
flippin'.
these people reading these apocryphal books and using the FL word in the chat? Shame. Shame, Ben.
Thank you for the super chat, Ben. Next one, babe.
Fidget the Crazy, I filled an entire digital canvas with notes.
All
Oh,
right.
Dang.
Dude, she was crushing it, man.
Also,
But we're never going to get to these memes. We're never getting to them.
No.
Well, we're burning through.
Stop interrupting
We're
me.
burning through the super chats.
Ostionis says, yes, it's Greek. I am an archaeologist in the PNW, and I have been binge listening to Ward Radio's back catalog during excavations all month. Finally caught a live show. Thanks so much for all you do. Well, that's cool. An archaeologist.
Okay, wait.
that sounds fun.
Where's the PNW?
Pacific Northwest.
Oh, the Pacific Northwest.
Carden. That's what that means.
Dude, actually, if you're an archaeologist, Ostionios, I want to. I just got back from Egypt and Israel and Jordan and Saudi Arabia earlier this year or last year. We got some aspirations of doing some really cool video content that is kind of scriptural archaeology based. I would love to hear from you. Please reach out via the website and we'll talk. Get Edog, Ryan, Carter, LDS Response, Polly Nikes. Just burn through these and then we'll comment on one or two of them. Then we'll keep going to the memes. Go,
Yeah.
babe.
Okay. All you men be quiet. I'm talking now. Edog88 says, all of the women's talks slapped this conference. Agreed. Carter Cromar says, reaction to two apostles calling out AI art. Maybe use Ward artists for thumbnails instead. Okay. Ryan Osborne, the priesthood session needs to be restored.
No. We do not need the whipping session back.
Or we
Thank you
need to
very
give it to
much.
the women too so they know what it was like. Because this whole, like, the men get flailed all day long and told how crappy they are. And then the women just get told they don't need to change a thing and they should all be feminists anyway. Like, that 30-year disparagement, left us in crisis, shall we say.
Fun story. When I brought this up one time, so we're friends with the Fifes. I don't know if you know Tikla and Austin Fife. We were talking one time and I was like, yeah, priesthood session was just a big whipping session. And Tikla's like, oh my gosh, that's not true. And she looks over at Austin, and Austin's like, yeah, that's actually totally true. He was like, what? And he's like, yeah, that's totally true.
I don't know a single guy that looked forward to priesthood session.
Oh, no, it's brutal.
Oh, I did.
Brutal. It's just
Okay.
getting whipped.
I know one guy that looked forward to priesthood session.
There was root beer floats afterwards.
Oh,
No, the root beer floats are totally separate. Totally
And
separate.
I was 14, so
That's true.
That's
That's
like-
true.
I don't have to be a good dad. I just get ice cream after this.
That's awesome. Okay, Brittany, keep
Fidget
going.
the Crazy, blue screen of death much. I
Uh,
don't know what blue screens mean.
oh, that's when your electric device.
I think she said
Freezes.
something in a
Crashes
previous
out.
comment that was happening to her. So I don't know.
Might be a
She
stream
probably
issue.
needs to
I'll
like
look into
maybe
it.
like refresh her page or something.
Okay. LDS Response says the temple announcements were cool, but not as cool as a temple cruise ship idea proposed during David O. McKay administration.
Totally true. Good
that
call.
was
Should
an
bring it
actual
back.
thing that he said.
Actual thing.
Mhm.
Oh, we joked
USS
about it during our
Moroni.
live stream. I didn't know that he actually
Yeah,
proposed it.
David O. McKay.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that's where the idea came around. It was floating around the church office building there for a little bit.
Was
It
it,
has a
literally
buffet,
floating?
It has an onboard piano player all the time, water slide. It's amazing.
Dude, your washing and anointing could be done on a slip and slide.
Oh,
That is like, that is so based. Just straight into a pool of olive
No.
oil.
I
You
don't
know-
think you know what the word based means.
That's the most evangelical thing I've heard of all
Yeah,
day.
it is. Right.
That's even more evangelical than evangelicals.
Okay.
Yeah, dude.
I just added something to my bucket list. That's awesome.
Okay, keep
Okay.
going.
Polly Nikes. Oh man, I don't even know if I want to read. Okay, Carden, can you remind us
Which generation destroyed America and ushered in feminism or a word as birth control? I think we all know who it is. And they're slowly making up for their sins and atoning for this
Gen X,
maltreatment.
right? Gen X, is that what you're going to say?
No, wasn't. No,
Silent generation.
No, wasn't the silent generation. It was the other one.
Okay.
So, Kim Young, hit it.
I just like cookies. Will there be homemade cookies at your next book launch?
Well, now there will.
Okay.
Because Kim wants cookies. You got it. You got it. We'll bring some homemade cookies.
I happen to know someone who runs a baking business here in my town, so we might be able to do that.
All right,
interesting.
sick.
Don't trust him. Never trust a skinny baker.
So hit it,
Rock
man.
family. Jeez, all of these are for Jonah. Are you like, geez, popular?
People, I'm trying to get to the memes, people.
Jonah, do you know Elder Murray served 96 to 98 in some places I can't pronounce? Also, I served in
Ekaterinburg and Chelyabinsk.
Yeah, also served in Noumea, New Cal, getting a temple. Interesting info if you want. Sweet.
That's right. In New Caledonia, getting a temple.
Wait, where's New Caledonia?
Station of Murray. I don't know Murray.
Oh, okay, cool.
Christopher
In
Rogers.
Ekaterinburg, in the warm, toasty Ekaterinburg. Don't know him.
Okay, Christopher Rogers says, I have decided to honor Elder Razban's talk by listening to Word Radio and reading Key to the Keystone and the Light and Truth letter this week. Sweet.
Ooh, so did Elder Razband endorse Ward Radio from the pulpit again?
Yep.
Did that happen
and Key
again?
to the Keystone. Yep, he did.
Well, because, I mean, he's the one that pays us. It makes sense that he would be the one endorsing us.
Yeah. Were we supposed to say that out
from the
loud?
church's fund. He signs the checks, but the money is all tithing, so it's not his money technically.
No, you're right. He's just the one that strong arms the other apostles.
Right.
And
He's the liaison.
His name is on the checks, is all.
yeah, between him and Russell M. Nelson, who single-handedly made this
Guys,
podcast happen.
Antis are going to clip that, and they're going to spread it all around. You guys should probably know.
I don't
All right,
think
we
they-
got some
Awesome if they
memes to
did.
get to, people. We got tons of good memes.
Okay,
and
good. Get
awards.
to them. We're caught up.
All right,
Finally,
hit it.
thanks, Brittany.
Hey, you're welcome.
All right, so Carden, there's a ton of stuff in the Discord that you can pull up here.
Okay, I got the first one. First image, all right?
First one is Woody Harrelson.
I've got a temple construction meme, it looks like.
Company.
Yep, so go for it. What do you
This
got?
is the Temple Construction Company hearing 15 more temples being announced before they've built the last 100 temples. They're sad, but they're rich. They're going to die young and rich.
Okay, all right, you got another one right
my-
here.
My
Next
brother,
Yeah?
my brother worked for one of the companies doing the modular temples, and they're building a whole factory in Mexico, like just to make temples inside of this factory, and they can hold like 4 inside of it at a time, and they each take like 2 years, and they're pumping them out. They got
Does
business
that mean
for
the temples
decades.
are getting hit by tariffs now?
Yes,
Temple
I
tariffs?
suppose it does.
That's why they built in Reynosa, right? So it's on that side of the border. Avoid the tariffs.
That way they can inadvertently funnel tithing money into the Trump administration.
The next meme is the elevator meme. Mormons after General Conference. Hey, Kev, how was your weekend? Good. I watched TV for 14 hours. And this is how the next one is how we all feel. This is Uchtdorf. How we all feel when Jeffrey R. Holland is up next to speak. After which we will be pleased to hear from Elder Jeffrey R. Holland. Yeah, because he's the goat.
Yeah, you know
now-
what? He always has good walk-off performance too. Like him and Russell M. Nelson, they're really men of the people. You know what I'm saying? Like Russell M. Nelson was really funny. He hollered out to the crowd like, "Go home," and he's like waving to people. They have a natural talent for engaging with large groups that is not shared by other people. Although we have to stop ripping on Elder Gong. He was not the most boring talk.
Oh, I loved his. His
Yeah.
was actually my favorite. I liked Gong.
He was top
and-
3, baby.
Yeah.
So Elder Gong, he's like that horse in the Kentucky Derby that's like always in 11th for all the other races, but then just has this breakaway. You know what I'm saying? And ends up in the top 3, and you're like, I'm glad I bet on him. A lot of people made some money on that guy. He was like a 10-to-1er, you
I
know?
can tell that Jonah's trying to remember what Elder Gong talked about.
Are we being punked right now? Is this a punk right now? Did my wife put you up to this?
No.
I loved Elder Gong's talk. It was one of my favorites.
Yeah, what was it about?
That was the meme that I deleted.
I feel like that was one of the talks that my kids were really loud during, and I don't remember.
No, he was the one where he was like, "This is
Joe Biden
Jesus and Easter," and he was going through like all these different, like examples of how you can find Jesus and examples of your life, and like the East. You guys don't remember it?
Yeah, sorry,
Wait,
we're just spiritual over
Nobody
here.
remembers it.
Oh, man.
Stevenson was the one talking about Easter a lot.
I remember
Okay. Also did?
Stevenson's talk. Yeah.
Well, somebody put a meme in there that I wasn't going to share of Elder Gong winning the award for the best Joe Biden impression, but I didn't put it in there. because
Okay, cool.
I think that would be insensitive. So
All right, so next meme, my man, hit it.
next meme. Okay, so this is a text that we received here at Ward Radio from Russell M. Nelson saying, "Hey, by the way, when I say people are contentious on social media, I don't mean you. You're good."
That's funny.
We got a pass.
That was great. That was great.
Oh.
Now the next one, we need some audience participation. Okay, you're stuck on a 10-hour flight. 10-hour flight. Where are you gonna sit? Here's your options. Okay, look at the screen right here. You can look. Where are you gonna sit?
Oh
And they're all
man.
numbered. Okay, maybe by Steve Young. Okay, maybe you're next to Donny Osmond. All right. These are the different seats that you have available. and you gotta pick
Progmo
one.
sellout. Then we got some boomer superstar.
I
Not
picked
interested.
Number 2.
You picked number 2 next to Emily Bell Freeman. She's the leader
That's
of the
number
church.
5.
Wait.
She's the leader of the
That's
church in this
5.
picture. Number 5.
number
I
5.
picked number 2.
Yeah,
Gong
number
and
5.
Kieran.
Yeah, I said number 2.
Oh,
Or
I hear
number
if you want to get something done in the church, you got to talk to Emily Bell Friedman. She's like she's the pusher, the make it happen.
I'm thinking I'm a number 9. Anybody?
You're a
I'm
number
thinking
9.
Same here.
Okay.
Same
Mhm.
here.
You know, I
Love
actually got to go
Velvet
number
Bednar.
10.
Number
I got to go
10.
number 10.
No,
What?
Bednar kicking your seat the whole time? That'd be horrible.
No, I'm behind Bednar. I thought
You're
that's how this
behind?
was going. Yeah, the people on the top are at the
Oh,
front.
yeah, you're right.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right. Okay.
So basically just me and Christofferson the whole way.
Wow.
Christopherson
what I
was
would do.
awesome.
Wow.
But if
Actually,
you're 9,
I'd-
then you're right in front of Christopherson and next to Bednar.
No,
and
then you
got
gotta
President Nelson to your
like
front right.
try and talk to him like no.
No,
Just sit in the corner with Christofferson and me.
the correct answer is 2. The correct answer is 2.
That's what I literally
Oh,
said.
what?
Life is about life is about networking and influence, and Elder Kieran is going to be in there the longest. He's a cool dude. He's not going to
Kieran's
bore you to tears, and Asians live forever. So you know Gong's going to be like
Oh my
105, just like Russell M. Nelson was. One of those guys is going to be prophet, like most likely, like during the Gog and Magog, Armageddon, the last days. And when I finally got to convince one of our prophets to actually start the paramilitary group of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, it ain't going to be these niceness culture bros that died 15 years ago. It's going to be Kieran with an English accent.
Yeah.
Could
So
you
it looks
imagine
like-
that?
It looks like the votes are in, and it looks like 9 is the winner.
9.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 votes for seat number 9, which is between Bednar and Razband, and
Yep.
which also is the correct answer.
Sitting, you want to sit between a paper tiger and a Wall Street investor?
Fine.
Yeah,
Y'all
whatever,
can
dude.
fight over your seat. I'll be chilling and having actual conversations with Gong and Kieran. So
Bednar's next, either the next or the prophet after that. If
Yeah.
you want influence, you got to sit next to Bednar.
Oh,
true.
come on.
Yeah,
that's
I
true.
like guys that
Coming
do
up
things
soon.
and don't just saber rattle. I
Yeah,
lived
the
through
wait.
COVID.
one
Wait,
guy-
wait.
The one guy who
huge
stood up
doer.
against
Wait, hold on.
vaccines. Carden hates
Oh,
the
stood
one
up
guy
at, oh, stood up.
against
You mean
vaccines.
rolled over for
One.
18 months, and once it was
There
all
was
over, said,
one.
oh, well, we're never going to let that happen again.
Carden.
Oh, we're never
This
going to
is
let
what
that
you do
happen
when
again.
You actually do what Carden wants. He hates you even more. When you
Jeez,
actually- you're the only guy-
please.
The only
true.
guy who comes out and
It's true.
says This is going too far. Cardin hates you even
Oh,
more.
no. He said this went too far after the fact when all of our church leadership later. There's a reason
And
why
when
the
nobody
Pneumo
else
movement
even
is
said
able to.
anything. So
Yeah,
What?
who else did? Who else did,
It
Cardin?
was
Who
like,
else did
it
that?
was like right in the middle of it. It was like, wasn't
was.
that like
It was
May
June.
or something?
It was June
yeah.
2020.
Of the year after.
No,
it all
that's
started.
the
In
year.
the same year.
That's
Okay,
the year.
look. I'll tell you right now.
Uh-huh.
Unimpressed.
Okay,
Unimpressed.
and who else did? Who else stood up?
Oh,
for
no,
it?
dude, I'm telling you, bro, it was a cataclysmic failure on behalf of the leadership of our church et al. And there's a reason why the Pneumo movement and the polygamy deniers are able to peel off so many people. And it's the first time we've seen an exit in North America to
What
the
does
right.
polygamy denial have to do with COVID?
What do you mean? Wait, you don't know what polygamy denial has to do with COVID? Their number one selling point of polygamy denial is that Joseph Smith was the only prophet. He was murdered by Brigham Young and John Taylor in a conspiracy by the polygamy lovers.
No,
and you say,
I'm
what's
saying,
the
what
proof?
Does that have to do
And
with COVID?
I'll tell you. Like, and we say, well, what's the proof? They say, well, our church is apostate. Well, what do you mean it's apostate? Yeah. Do you see the vax? Look at how it's hurt so many people. Look at how,
No, they,
look.
The polygamy deniers say because of polygamy.
No,
That's
no,
why
no,
we know
they-
that it's
no,
not.
you're-
no.
So this is-
Cardin's
this is
right.
a-
Cardin's right.
No,
they
dude.
They used that as a platform.
No,
They
he
grew
is
huge.
right. It's a huge, like, because on the right, on the left you've got like all the progmos and stuff using like all the transgender LGBTQ stuff, whatever, to get people out of the church. On the right, it's the jibby jab.
Yep.
No, they'd
Friendly
yeah,
jibby jab.
but they'd find a reason.
No, sure, but I'm saying
for
this is the
anything.
first time, Luke, in our lifetime where we've said we've seen widespread apostasy from the church to the right, and their main talking point is prophets are prophets like musicians are musicians. Musicians constantly make music. Prophets should be constantly guiding their people in prophetic ways. What was prophetic about the church's handling of COVID and the jibby jabby? And they
So that's a them problem and not a
I'm
church
not
problem.
endorsing
Right,
them.
right,
I'm
but
backing
that's
up
what they
the
say.
claim.
I know,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying.
But
And
it
you're
also
right, and we
totally
agree,
fulfilled
but-
prophecy, just for the
Okay.
record.
Speaking of right, on the alt-right, we have some disturbing news. The next meme here, guys, some disturbing news. All right.
Okay.
You all saw the talk. This is the LDS woman leader from the pulpit.
This was
Gave
the
the
most
Nazi
basic
salute.
part at the top.
Oh,
Nazi salute to
Yeah.
millions of members in worldwide conference, fueling speculation
Man.
of ties to white supremacy. Salt Lake Tribune is on the case. Salt Lake Tribune is on the case. Very disturbing
Yeah.
here, guys.
I mean,
Was-
within a
was
week,
that
we're gonna
another
find out
Jared
She
meme?
has all her assets in Tesla. Like,
That's
Yeah,
funny.
Jared
Okay,
said
dude,
he
I
was
do
into
have
that
to
one.
say, like, I
Well,
don't think.
And the hilarious thing was that so many people thought it was real, and
Yeah.
he had to come out like an hour later, be like,
And say,
guys,
"I'm just kidding."
That is, that's a good meme. That's War of the Worlds with Orson
Yeah, where they
Welles
thought the
Believe it.
broadcast
level where they thought it was real. Now I do have to say this, like, I think Elon Musk is great. He has his strengths and his weaknesses just like anybody else. I don't think he's the Antichrist as some people do think, but I do also think, like, man, I don't think he was trying to do the salute, but dude, bruh, like 3 times in a row, that you gotta have some emotional intelligence not to see that coming from a mile away. Like,
Well, it's
just
going around.
And now
apparently.
Cardin's making fun of the spectrum-y people.
the do you
how
think
far we
Elon
have
Musk has
fallen.
Elon Musk ever said he was on the spectrum? That's funny.
toast.
The
All right, the next meme is actually a photograph of me during General Conference. This is a photograph taken of me here watching Elder Holland cook up some delicious General Conference kebabs.
good job, bro. And then the
that
next
right
one,
there?
here we are.
Mhm.
What is this?
Which one do you got up?
I got the guy from Kingdom of Heaven.
It says, it is proposed that we sustain Russell M. Nelson as prophet, seer, and revelator. All those in favor, please manifest. And here's me eating a cinnamon roll in my garments. Yep.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one, man. That's a good
How
one.
many
pretty
people
good. All
eat
right, and then
cinnamon
Kermit-
rolls for General Conference? Because I thought it was like a Mormon thing, but then
Yeah, it's a
people
thing.
are like, no, it's not. We had the
No,
elders
that's
over.
the thing.
Thank you, John. We agree on something. Yes.
That's the thing. No, the bishop
Cinnamon
will sit you
rolls?
down and he will say, "Did you have cinnamon rolls for general conference or not?"
With extra
Yeah,
icing.
we had cinnamon rolls and orange rolls in my house. We
Oh.
went for extra credit.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Terrestrial.
Oh, yeah.
Over. Wow. The next one is Kermit the Frog here, and he's just reflecting and saying, "I miss when Saturday evening session was about lecturing the men for not doing more. You know, the good old days."
Savage. Look at that one. That is
days.
funny. I miss when the
Yeah.
Saturday evening session was about lecturing the men for not doing more. That is so true. Babe, you did not live through it, man. It was like, oh, dude. It was just like.
Brutal. It's
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and the
I
next
didn't
meme.
This is so
Apparently.
hard. I'm sorry.
The next meme will
It
come
was
in.
almost
will be
as
more
bad as
relevant-
opening up a jar. It was difficult.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Not hard.
Okay, keep going.
We're not to the awards yet, people, but this is going to be apropos. The next meme here shows these women talking. "I can't believe he didn't cry during Titanic." And the woman are saying, "Do men even have feelings?" Yes, we do.
And there's Wojak just crying. No, not
That
Wojak.
story,
It's a stoic Nordic man.
Jacob Hansen. That's Jacob Hansen.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a photograph of Jacob Hansen, actually. Yes, that story about the kid in the wheelchair. Ooh. It was rough. It
Wait,
was
I
rough.
don't
All right.
remember the one of the kid in the wheelchair. Which one was that?
That was the very first one.
Oh,
Brutal.
yeah.
Holland.
I was recovering. I was still sleeping.
I
Brutal.
think I was making cinnamon rolls.
Yeah. So what did he say? What's the TLDR?
Oh man,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
the most heartwarming story. How do you even recap that? You just
No,
have to
there's
listen
no
to Elder
doing
Holland.
justice. You have to go listen to it. You have to listen.
Yeah,
There's no doing
it was-
justice.
Okay.
Brutal.
All right. Okay. I'm going to go
Brutal.
back and listen.
The most heartwarming story about passing the sacrament you've ever heard.
Really?
Absolutely brutal.
Okay.
Okay, but that is all the jokes. We finally get those horrible memes out of the way, and we can get to the statistical report. Guys, we've said it before on this channel that this is the best time to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we have confirmed in the data, people, this is it. This is the best time to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints because we're breaking records here. The church released its statistical report for 2024, and things are looking fantastically. We had 308,000 convert baptisms in the year 2024, which is the 5th highest ever in the history of the church.
Yeah.
We had an expansion of branches and districts, which we have not had in like 5 years or so. There's a great breakdown of this on ldschurchgrowth.blogspot.com. All the indicators, with the exception of one, are very, very good. We have the most full-time missionaries serving ever, with the exception of the double cohort that happened after they reduced the age. Besides that, we have the highest number of missionaries serving. So things are looking fantastic for the church everywhere. Hardest hit, Jana Reese. Hardest hit.
Wait.
She's
Why?
rethinking her career because, or Peggy Fletcher Stack. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
The days of church growth are over. Yeah, actually, no, they're not over.
I
Things are
think
going
she
quite
actually
well.
put out a tweet where she was like, huh. Like she was clearly confused, like,
She
that
said-
can't be right.
Yeah, very
No,
surprising or something. Yeah.
It's almost
There are
like it was
people
not a
out there.
data-driven thing for 20 years. And it was a dogmatic, cynical, Gen Xer, atheistic, secularist illusion that reigned in our media sphere for solid 15 or 20 years there. And she was leading part of that charge, So
Now the church, for a number of years, the church has been doing consolidation of districts, wards, and stakes to try to build up where we already were, to try to increase retention and those things. For the first time in a long time, the church has increased the number of districts, and that is an indicator of reach. The church is reaching into new spaces, into new places geographically, to plant new districts and to have a net increase in those districts. So
I was just going to
everything's
say,
looking great.
can we have a moment of silence for all the antis just kind of hate watching in our chat? Like, they're just kind of slacking, If like we're growing, like, is their content not that great? Or are they just like way too toxic that normal people are like, what the heck happened to you? I don't know. A moment of silence for the antis and the demons attached to them. Thank you.
F's in the chats. F's in the chats. Moment of silence.
F's in the chats, moment for silence.
part that got me there. Was
Thinking of
demons
Chris.
attached.
Thinking of Nathan Bigler. thinking of all those who have gone before and failed.
You know,
Okay.
I saw
That was beautiful.
RFM.
That was beautiful.
I saw
right, we're
RFM
done.
streaming between sessions.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my algorithm gave it to me. There was like 700 people watching.
Really?
Just like, yeah, just I don't know. This old dude complaining about what people said during general conference of a church that they're not even a part of anymore.
By the way, is there
nobody
any
watches conference like RFM? Nobody watches conference like
I know.
Is there any other
I need to
proof
find
that
that
ex-Mormon
meme.
anti-Mormonism is just completely parasitic off the original host animal than all of the channels having freaking a halftime show for Mormonism? Like, if there is no other proof, they could not survive on their own in the wild, and they're completely and wholly dependent upon the existence of the church. It's like the rich kid who acts all tough and all Fortune 500 and stuff like that, but he's really been on a trust fund his entire life, couldn't do his own taxes, and wouldn't even know how to file for his own LLC, but he walks around acting like he's Elon Musk.
Seriously.
You know, like, it's totally
Well, like, can you even call the antis like content creator? They don't create anything. They just like react to. So they're content reactors. They don't create anything. They're so
You're right.
lame.
You're
yeah,
right.
that's a good point, babe. That's a good point.
You're right.
And
Thank you.
and you're not allowed to fight it, or else you're sexist. A woman made a point and an observation, and don't you dare disagree with her, or you're mansplaining. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
And don't assume my gender. Like, geez,
sorry,
antis.
sorry, I apologize.
No, you can assume it. You've seen.
Savage. All right, keep
All
going.
right, now we can get to, ladies and gentlemen, the 4th semi-annual Ward Radio Awards. Here
Oh,
we
wait,
go.
no. Before we go, sorry, I forgot. 15 minutes ago, I put a 15-minute goal up that if we get 10 super chats before that 15 minutes is down, any level of super chats, we'll have 2 other memes. You have 2 extra memes in the chat, right, Jonah?
Oh, the special memes.
The special memes. So we will release 2 extra memes, some extra credit memes, if we can get 9 more super chats in the next 9 minutes. So 9 super chats in 9 minutes for more memes. We're setting a little goal here, you know, and hopefully we get there.
Do you want
Jonah.
me Do you want me to read some super chats or no?
Yeah, let's catch us up on super chats, and then we'll go into the awards. Brittany.
Okay, Fidget the Crazy says, according to my notes, grief may come in the night, but joy comes in the morning. Jesus weeps for grief and joy, clothed in the garment of praise, salvation, and robe of righteousness. Yeah, that was Gong's talk. Yeah.
Yeah, rock on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fidget. Thank you very much.
Ed
22.
says, when Elder Gong becomes president, will we call it the Gong Show? I don't know.
I mean, we don't call it the Nelson Show, but wait, you're shaking your head. What is that? Some like pop culture reference I'm completely unaware of, or what?
No, nothing.
Okay, moving
Wait,
on.
wait,
running
what?
joke. It's just a running joke among my friends that there is no Elder Gong. People say, "Oh, Elder Gong's talk. What talk was that?" Because it's always the one I sleep through.
I love Elder Gong. Oh my gosh, men these days,
know.
I swear.
I just look $100
Just
to
Jonah.
whoever can tell me what his talk was about. $100. You can tell me
Okay,
what.
Brittany,
What
$100
was
for
his
you.
talk about?
I just told you. He talked about different like scenarios and different like this is Jesus, this is Easter, this is like he wipes away your tears. He wipes away all your tears except for the tears that you cry of joy. I don't know.
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, pretty.
it was
straightforward.
beautiful.
It was so good.
If you're not a Philistine, you know what I'm saying. So
No, Gong, we're just kidding around, all right? Gong is an apostle of our Lord Jesus Christ. We just like to joke that he does a very good Joe Biden impression.
yeah, dude, he was
All right,
tougher
so-
on COVID
Okay,
than Bednar.
Kim
No,
Young says,
Nobody was tougher on COVID than Bednar. Nobody was.
I don't know.
You're psycho, brother.
No, I'm telling you, no. I'm look.
Okay, moving on. I don't care. Okay, Kim Young says, I'm back in the church because of Monson's talk during priesthood session in 2016. Make men be better, great again. Okay, cool.
Okay, rock on.
Benjamin says, President Oaks being replanted when he gets knocked down by the wind could have been a meme. Wait, what?
Oh,
Because he's an oak.
Oh.
And it's sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
got a dad joke there.
Christopher Rogers says they create discord and hate. Okay, yeah, the antis. Okay, that's one thing they create, but it's not content. Mary Lou Howarth says more memes.
Oh, well, hey, it's
Gotta
not
do it
up to
now.
me. It's not up to me. It's up to the chat. And if we get 7 more super chats, you know what I'm saying? That's how you unleash the memes.
So let's. Are we done with super chats?
Yes.
Yeah, we're done with super chats. All caught
Okay,
up.
so let's go to. So there's a little tweet from Clint Teeples, Card. Can you find that in the Discord there? I'm sorry, everything in the Discord is a mess. I just threw everything in here.
Okay, I got
But you
it.
can
Clint
find from
Teeples. Yes.
Clint Teeples. So this is very interesting. I want everybody to remember this, guys. Everybody to remember this for the next year. Okay, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in 2024. Ready? Humanitarian aid, $1.45 billion. Hours volunteered by members, 6.6 million man hours. Convert baptisms, 308,000. So that means every single day in 2024, there was $4 million of humanitarian aid given, 18,000 hours of volunteer work done, and 850 convert baptisms each and every day of the year. Hope you guys remember that. Okay?
Whoa.
Good stuff. It is the best time to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's right now. Great time.
Wow, that's impressive, man.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Okay, next
All right,
one.
so let's get to and let's go down to. There's a little brown paragraph, Cardin.
Okay.
A little brown paragraph. It starts with the word second.
Okay. Cool.
This is from ldschurchgrowth.blogspot.com, run by Matt Martinik, our friend of the show. He knows more about the growth of the church than the church knows. He's trying to dive into the numbers. Thought this would be interesting for everybody to hear. Okay, these are just a couple of his takeaways I wanted to point out. He says the church in Europe experienced some of its most rapid membership growth in decades during 2024 in several countries. In Spain, the church membership increased 3.85%, the highest reported by the church since 2007. In Italy, membership grew by 2.62%, the highest annual growth since 2004. In France, church membership increased by 1.79%, also the highest annual membership growth since 2007. In Germany, 1.06%. In Denmark, 0.83%, the second highest year for membership growth since 1995. Most other European countries experience typical membership growth rates consistent with recent years. So for whatever reason, things even in Europe, the church is growing the growth rate is not declining. It's holding strong. The other observation he made is that the church in the United States reported nearly the same net increase in membership in 2024 compared to 2023. 61,000, about 64,000, with membership increasing by 0.890 for the year. The year 2023 was significant as it saw the highest net increase in membership since 2015, with the highest annual membership growth rate since that same year. Thus, recent membership growth in the United States appears to represent a new trend rather than a continuation of a steady decline in membership growth that persisted for nearly a decade. So something is turning around. We've had great growth for 2 consecutive years. It shows that maybe this isn't an outlier. Maybe this is here to stay. So great stuff going on. Great stuff going on. The one dark patch, and I shouldn't end with this, but the one dark patch was fertility rate. The number of children of record added to the church rolls this year was very low, and it continues to trend downward. Now, that means that there's a lot of people joining who are adults to make up for those child of record baptisms being down.
Yeah, but feminism is getting what it wants.
Yeah, but there's fewer children being born into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So we still have.
I have a prediction to make there, though.
Oh, what's
Hit
that?
it.
Remember, when you're talking about children of record getting baptized, those are kids that were born 8 years ago. And so you got to think, what was going on 8 years ago? That's 2017. Things were just kind of like petering out. There's been a pretty recent revival of really traditional family values. Even
That's
online,
true.
it's becoming really trendy to get to be like a homestead wife, like a stay-at-home mom, all of that stuff. It's becoming more and more popular, even among Gen Z. And so my prediction is just watch roughly 7 to 8 years from now, you're going to see that spike back up again.
That's actually a great point, that there is a delay with that number. That's actually an excellent point. What we do in our ward is we find the couple with the cutest baby, and we always sit them in front of the newlyweds and face the baby backward, so that there's this adorable little baby looking over their shoulder, just being like, Like, baby starts crying, we're like, get that out of here. Get that out of here. Buddy.
Yeah.
Replace it. We need to replace
That's what
it.
I was
We
going
always
to
have a
say. You
backup.
gotta, switch
we have
them
a
out.
backup baby just in case. Baby starts to poop, get that thing out of there.
Yeah.
Get it. Like Brigham Young said, a crying baby is like a good intention. It should be carried out immediately. Okay. Get that
Yeah.
and then we get those people. It's the reproductive specialist, the reproductive encouragement specialist.
Okay, we only got 2 minutes and 55 seconds, 2 minutes and 51 seconds left on our goal. We're at 9 out of 10 super chats to get more memes, guys. So we need one more super chat in the next 2 minutes, and we'll be able to unleash
Oh, you
the
got
memes.
it. You got
There
it.
it is.
Oh, there it is.
And I'm
Okay.
making one too.
Okay.
All right, let's do this. Okay, thank you so much for achieving our goal. Here come the Ward Radio Awards. We have, Carden, you ready for the first one? This is Elder Holland.
I am ready for the first one, my man. In 3,
The
2,
coveted,
1. Boom
the
shot.
coveted Onion Chopper Award goes to our Onion Chopper in Chief Jeffrey R. Holland, President of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, senior member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, who gave his talk on the little boy in the wheelchair passing the sacrament. That was, at least for me, the Onion Chopper Award goes to
Agreed.
Jeffrey R. Holland.
Agreed.
That's a huge win. Huge win for Elder
We
Holland.
gotta go watch
Huge
that
win.
one, Carden.
Yeah,
We
dude, I'm
missed that
feeling
one.
like I missed the party here, dude. Holy smoke. Now, did you have to make him holding up like a serial killer that just
I didn't
ended
make-
up taking a
this is a
potato
photograph. I'm
out
just-
of the body?
That's
of
an onion.
a
That's an
victim.
onion, okay. And look, I'm just taking the photograph. I didn't take the photograph. Okay, he held it the way he held it. all
Okay,
right?
so
Don't
Jason
criticize the
from
Lord's
Friday
anointed.
the 13th mixed with Elder Holland, and all of a sudden you've got an Onion Chopper Award. Okay, what is the next one, my man? What is the
one
next award?
Has got Neil L. Anderson.
Okay,
Now,
I'm bringing it up.
This
bringing
is
it up.
huge. Neil L. Anderson has been under a lot of criticism for misspelling his name with an E instead of an O.
Mm-hmm.
This has got him a lot
true.
of very understandable criticism, but he has recovered, bounced back. This is a comeback story. He gets the Mostest Bastest Award for his talk on abortion. Mostest Bastest, and the fact that he just sat there feeding a cow in his jeans like a boss was super cool. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was awesome.
Mhm.
But yeah, what a cool dude. What a cool dude. Like the dude. It's funny to see them in regular clothes walking around a farm, and he's just totally comfortable. He's just a regular grandpa. He's just a super cool grandpa. But so anyways, but we got to fix that last vowel in his name. But Mostest Bastest
Okay.
Award goes to Neil Anderson. Congratulations.
All right, awesome. Next one, my man. Next one.
The next one is the best end zone dance. This is Elder S. Mark Palmer for his talk on the willow tree falling down. This is the best end zone dance. This is I got the feeling from this that like there's a lot of members coming back into the church.
Yeah.
And so Elder Palmer smelt blood in the water, and he was like, I'm going to give a whole talk about them coming back into the church. And so he gave an excellent talk about come on back. It's not too late. You can rejoin the church, and you knew that the antis were watching it just seething. They were just spitting blood between their teeth. They were so angry at this talk. He was like, yeah, come on back. Hey, come on. It's totally fine. Do a little end zone dance.
Yeah.
Excellent job, S. Mark Palmer. And then the last one we have, Carden, I don't know if you can see, there's a little diagram. This is the award for the sneakiest attendee.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Now, I don't know if you're all aware of this, but attending every general conference, looking down from above upon the saints gathered, is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is real. This is real. This is not
that's
Photoshop.
funny.
Obi-Wan Kenobi put up there probably by the construction guys. I don't know who put this up there, but it's legit. It's a life-size cardboard cutout of Obi-Wan Kenobi who looks down on general conference every time, smiling.
Really?
Look at the content
Wait,
look on his
really?
face. Yes,
Yeah,
really.
so
is
this
not a
was
joke.
Elder Anderson's son. For whatever reason, this general conference decided to reveal his true identity on X. Like, there's no LDS content. It's all like business, how to be a great Fortune 500 CEO or something on his X account. And then all of a sudden, he started talking about his dad this and the backstage of general conference that. And
Yeah.
So
And
did
he
he
revealed.
just
They were
did
just
he post
lapping it
this
up.
Picture?
apparently this is like the entrance to sit up on the rostrum.
Which makes sense because I see the golf cart, and of course, the famous golf carts that move them around underneath Temple Square and stuff.
Like
Wow,
Peter
okay.
at the pearly gates, Obi-Wan greets everybody coming into general conference.
Well, somebody said, like, imagine you're a general authority, new general authority. You're about to give your first conference talk. You're nervous. You're going up to take your seat. And then you just hear a, hello there. And you look up and see Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I think this means that when it comes to Star Trek versus Star Wars, it's settled church doctrine.
Oh,
Doctrine and
Star
Covenants.
Wars
This is not
is the
true.
endorsed one.
Section
Oh my
139, official canon.
Official.
That's funny. All right, so the chat has earned it. More
I
memes.
have an award to give as well.
Oh, you have an award to give. Okay.
Yes. Down second from the top.
Okay. Got it. Most offensive. Oh, I thought it said Jews, but it says J-dubs. Oh, it's a
Most
J-dub.
offensive to JWs is Gary E. Stevenson talking all about celebrating Easter with Easter eggs and other pagan unholy
Jeez,
traditions. Yep.
Excellent.
I thought-
Excellent.
I literally in the
That's pretty
Discord thought it was most offensive to Jews. I was like, "Whoa!" I knew you were right wing,
No.
but like I didn't know
No,
it
no,
was
no,
that
no.
bad. I'm just kidding.
I thought he was a Daily Wire guy, but apparently not.
You know,
I'm not a
Jump
frog,
ship
no,
with
man.
Candace.
is that? Yeah. Did you run this by Candace Owens first, dude?
No, I
actually,
didn't. I
guys,
didn't.
can we talk about like kind of like I've been always very, very defensive of conservatives because they have been besmirched horribly for the past like 15 and 20 years, called a Nazi for every stupid thing. I mean, you protest taxes are too high and they call you a Nazi, right? But like there is just like some uncomfortable, like some people have come out with some like anti-Semitic stuff lately, dude. Like it is really weird what is going on. You know what
true.
I'm saying?
Like who?
It's true. And it was something that I was starting to worry about 2 years ago.
Really?
A year and a half ago. Well, it's like once you win, then it's time to start splitting into different factions. And so conservatives were kind of on the back foot. And now that they've won, or
Now
we
people
won,
can start coming out with their
now
weird
you can
stuff.
kind of start fighting
Yeah.
amongst yourselves. And so all the
No,
crazies
like,
kinda
there is
come
a
out and start
lot.
to get followings. And
Dude, there's a lot of like anti-Semitism, more so than I feel comfortable with. Like, I think it's fair. Like, I don't think if you just don't like the way the nation state of Israel is doing something, that you're automatically anti-Semite. I don't think that, you know, just because you may disagree with some historical issue or, you know, think that AIPAC should register as a foreign lobby organization, which to me seems still, I still can't believe if the rumors are true that they're like the only lobbyists that don't have to register as foreign operatives. To me, that just seems nuts from a completely sterile organizational and political viewpoints. I don't think, you know, just because you maybe have some criticism of Israel here or there that you're an automatic anti-Semite, but there's been some stuff where I just feel really uncomfortable with some of these cats going where they're going, man. And they always start out like, they're always like, hey, yeah, so you ever heard of like the USS Liberty? Yeah, were you aware about that one, huh? You know, like, gotcha. And it's like, dude, dog. Like, yeah, I'm aware, but like, chill out, man. So, yeah, it makes me uncomfortable.
Anti-Semitism is a nonpartisan stance these days.
Well, I'm honestly worried about it creeping into the church. Like, I mean, I might do a reaction to this another day, but it's like, so my buddy Hanny is not a Palestinian activist, but he runs a charity. I've interviewed him on Problem Solver Politics. He's Hani Al-Madoun that gave this speech, and I don't want to go down an insane rabbit hole, you know, but about like 6 months ago to 8 months ago, there was a talk given in the Kennedy Center by my buddy Hanny, who's he was in the founding...
And Kennedy Center is BYU, by the way.
Yes, the Kennedy
for
Center.
people who aren't following.
Yeah, so the BYU Kennedy Center invited him to speak, and he runs in conjunction with a UN organization. It's called like Palestinian Soup Kitchen, and it's underneath UNRWA, UNRUH or whatever, which is an organization that apparently it's been busted with ties to like international, some would accuse it of money laundering to terrorists. Others would say sloppy accounting. To be honest with you, I don't know all the details, but people that I trust have notified me that like even in the state of Israel, it's become it was classified as a terrorist group, and even Joe Biden suspended their funding for at least a year in last Congress because of some I's and some T's that weren't dotted. Now, Hanny's a great guy. I know he's not involved with terrorists. He was a BYU student that was a founding member of the comedy club that I helped start, right? But the Kennedy Center had him come and give a talk. And apparently he made some remarks that veered into, like, you know, evil empire tropes and whatnot against the state of Israel. Apparently he was pretty PC about it, but there's some landmines he might have stepped on. All right. And at the end of the day, I've been invited by, actually the consul general of the state of Israel gave us tickets to go see the Dead Sea Scrolls. And they've also helped assist with a video game that me and Ethan are actually developing right now that is about Lehi and Nephi in Jerusalem. And we want to make it as historically accurate as we can. So we become friends with people in their antiquities department that are trying to help us get a 600th century BC map as accurate as possible. And in all these dealings with the state of Israel, they've found out that I was a BYU student. And more than one of them, like, apparently this is getting around in official circles. More than one of them said, dude, you go to BYU? Yeah. And they're like, are they anti-Semitic now? I was like, what are you talking about? No, we look at our doctrine. Like, you guys have an Orson Hyde Park. Like, we have the BYU Jerusalem Center. Like, and they say, yeah, about that. So apparently you had a Palestinian activist giving a speech that received the highest award the Kennedy Center can get. And we don't have a problem with a guy rooting for the home team. I don't have a problem if Hanny is trying to plead the case for his people. He's Palestinian. Great, go for it. If he didn't plead the case for his people, I think he was a little bit off of his rocker. I have zero problems in a conflict with somebody rooting for their home team, okay? At the same time, from official email channels, like, they've reached out, the consul general has reached out to BYU to try and get them to respond to, and say, hey, can we send somebody to go give, like, a speech on our behalf? You allowed the Palestinian activist to kind of besmirch us and say some things. Can we represent our side of the argument? And stonewalled, dude, straight up stonewalled. And I was like, no, that can't be. I didn't believe it. So I call BYU's PR, stonewalled me. I call the Kennedy Center, stonewalled. I have not gotten a response back from anybody. And
BYU PR's job is to not say anything about any news story.
Okay,
it's like a really easy job.
But now, and so I went back to the consul general, though. You'd think from emails from the consul general, I said, how were you reaching out to them? Just did you talk to them? Was this like a Facebook message? They said, no, these are official emails from our official general consul of Israel email accounts. Like, we're talking like diplomatic inquiries. And they said, you realize the Knesset votes on whether or not you get to keep the BYU Jerusalem Center in like 18 months, right? That lease is up, and we choose whether or not, not we choose, but they said the Knesset's got to vote on this cheese. Like, are they trying to sabotage the Kennedy Center? And I've been totally stonewalled, and I put all of my due diligence that I usually put into all of the news stories that I go after, trying to call people, trying to verify sources, trying to do all of this. And I have not been able to get a single answer out of the Kennedy Center or out of BYU. And I know that, I don't know, maybe I should just, I'm veering down a rabbit hole here. All right. I'm veering down a rabbit hole here. But it's like some people are accusing. Yeah, some people are accusing the Kennedy Center of trying to sabotage the Jerusalem Center for political reasons, and I would be heartbroken if I found out that was true. I'd like to verify that it's not. So, Kennedy Center, if you guys got something to say, please reach out, because I've tried. Luke, you know some people that have tried, because I've asked you for some numbers. And I've been talking to a lot of people, and this is kind of becoming a problem. So anyway, this all just happened because you said most offensive to JWs, and I thought it said Jews.
I sincerely apologize. Jehovah's Witnesses was not going to fit on that, and so I put JWs, and now we have had a 15-minute diversion about Jews and politics, and I sincerely apologize for that error.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
But in the meantime, while you were on that rabbit hole, Jonah's been spitting out spin out about memes about as fast as he pumps out children.
Oh,
so
wow.
we got a whole other batch.
Well,
of
that's
memes
true.
Hey,
Pretty good at both
now.
of those. Pretty good
in
at
the
both of
chat.
those.
But first, what are we starting with? We just did Gary Stevenson and the Jews, apparently.
Okay.
And now we are on the Megamind one that I put in.
All right, got you. I got you,
All right,
bro.
so the temple, the Salt Lake Temple, it's been announced. The construction is wrapping up in 2 years. It's been a journey. The church newsroom has been putting out construction videos, but those are going to end once the temple's done. And so this is POV when the Salt Lake Temple construction update videos finish. And it's Megamind there saying, "Why do I feel so melancholy?" And it's spelled wrong on purpose because he says melancholy instead of melancholy.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, next one. Hit it. Oh, snap. This one packs a punch. Politics, disasters, and assorted drama over the past 6 months. General conference. Slap.
Man, I feel
Oh.
this meme so hard. I feel this more than Chris Rock getting slapped in the face by Will Smith. Because, man, you follow this crap. Everybody freaking out about everybody else and everybody fighting about everything. Yesterday, Saturday, there was like this day of resistance all over the Northwest. You can't drive anywhere. Hide your wives, hide your children. It was so crazy. And then you tune in a conference and you're just like, man, everything else in the world feels so petty. I love General Conference. So that was
Actually,
I actually kind of loved waking up this morning and seeing that the markets had taken a downturn and been like, well, my weekend was awesome. I wasn't even aware of this until now.
By the way, who cares? I don't want to say who cares because I know some people are suffering, but at the end of the day, they're not normal people. Like, I was watching Tim Pool and he went over all of the stats of like who actually cares about the stock market, and Crystal Ball and all the progressives on Rising and everybody, they've had this hilarious phrase that I think just rings so true, that the stock market is really just a graph of rich people's feelings. You know, and like I can't think of a better way of summarizing what the S&P 500 really is, right? And I got to tell you, like, Tim Pool actually did a graph of like who actually owns stocks in America. And it's basically only the wealthiest 10% of the 10% actually have income dependent upon stocks. Everybody else has like some pensions and whatnot, but like they'll be affected in a diversified, you know, they might take a short-term hit and whatnot, but like he basically said anybody complaining about the stock market is most likely uber wealthy, and this is an argument meant to foment discord in the bottom 85% in order to make the top 15% comfortable. And that was a savage take coming from a guy that people say is a right-wing grifter, dude.
So I think the point of Jonah's meme was to not do political commentary in our general conference review.
Thanks. But anyway, you're right. So keep going.
Okay, what do we got? What's next?
Do
All
you
right,
want me
so
to
the next
catch up
is,
on super chats anytime soon?
No, don't have time for your super chats, Brittany. Next one is Boromir.
Okay.
Yeah, I just talked right over her.
It's
Well,
okay.
one more
Boromir.
meme, and then we'll go to super
The
chats.
camera
This
was
is
off
just
when I flipped it off, so it's fine.
This is just apropos because you were just talking about how the canon, the church, the debate between Star Trek and Star Wars. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, that's the next one. This
Yeah.
the Boromir meme is we're talking about wanting us to paraphrase Elder Holland's talk. One does not simply paraphrase. Elder Holland. Just sum that up, Carden.
Okay.
You gotta go.
And then the
watch it.
Star Wars one, and then we go to the super
settling
chats.
the debate. I suppose, I don't know. I think all of you are woefully uneducated in the ways of Star Trek, but there is that moment that you realize that there were 12 Jedi High Council members, and there are 12 apostles.
Oh,
Makes you think.
Yeah.
Makes you think.
Rock on. I'm digging.
Except all the 12 apostles are prophets, seers, and revelators, while everybody on the general council, on the Jedi Council, is not necessarily a Jedi Master.
Okay, good
Wait,
point.
you can be
Travesty.
you can be a non-master and sit on the Jedi Council?
This is why we have Anakin turning to
kind
the
of
dark side, as he was
kind of
mad about
sloppy
not getting.
Sloppy lore is that. Star Trek
Basically,
is tied up
Anakin
way
was
tighter than that.
aspiring to a calling which he was not extended.
No, this sounds like sloppy writing.
Your
Star
guys'
Trek
Star
is
Wars
way
rabbit holes
tighter.
are worse than my political rabbit holes.
Welcome to
But they're
Board Radio,
shorter.
people.
Okay, Brittany, catch us up on Super Chats. Catch us up on
Okay,
Super
Polly
Chats.
Nike says, okay, admittedly, I would like to see a version of Bear Grylls, The Island of Faithful Restored Members versus Anti-Exmos. Oh, I've never seen The Island, but
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
That'd be really funny.
The faithful members would do so much better.
Gage.
Because you can't complain your way out of a survival island or what?
Yeah, well, they would just work together and like just try to like build Zion on the island, and the antis would just like bicker at each other, probably come try to steal from the faithful members since they can't produce anything good themselves.
I love how we've made like an absolute pejorative trope out of this because we have so much trauma from dealing with the online anti-Mormons. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's
actually,
keep going.
that's a podcast sometime, but this almost happened. You know the story, Lord of the Flies?
Mhm.
Yes.
We got to do this podcast. Lord of the Flies really happened. There was a ship full of boys who crashed on an island and had to survive on that island on their own.
Really?
And
Did they
I'm
start
not
worshiping a pig?
No, I'm not making this up. They were all Mormons,
Oh,
and they
what
survived, and they
What the-
thrived.
This sounds kind
I've
of
heard of this.
apocryphal.
You heard of this?
Wait, yes,
this is
I've heard
100%
of this.
true. And they
Wait,
were all a
where
bunch of
is
Mormon
this,
teenagers.
bro?
Yeah, a bunch of
No.
Mormon deacons, teachers, and priests
Jonah's
crashed on an island.
fibbing.
I'm dead. I'll look
Dude,
it up right
I am
now.
opening up this Coke and then I am looking at this online. This is true?
It's totally true.
Okay, look it up. I'm going to read Super Chats.
Okay, hit it.
Gage Schimbeck says, Cardin must have been in a cinnamon roll coma when the wheelchair talk was on.
Oh, no, I was in a regular coma. I was still sleeping, I'll be honest with you. That was brutal.
Layla says, Gong was my bishop in Virginia and one of the kindest men ever to all. I believe it. I love Elder Gong.
Good guy.
Gage says, I love memes. Josette Joy says, will you be reacting to John Christ's new video where he visited a Latter-day Saint church?
Yep, we're recording it tonight.
Cool. She noticed he didn't mention Christ the entire video.
Well, I mean, I get that because it was a comedic video, not a religious one. So,
Okay. Becca Phoenix says, been a follower of y'all for a year now. First live stream I've caught. Y'all are amazing. Keep it up.
all
Thanks
right.
for being here, Becca.
We do our best.
Mike Bell says, I loved Elder Holland's talk. Well worth reviewing. Beyond that, conference hit the 10 virgin story pretty hard. Maybe we're not as ready as we think.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. Benjamin says, blessed are the peacemakers.
Mm-hmm.
Liberty Lady says, women are hard enough on themselves. They don't need hard talks.
Well, isn't that what equality's all about? Haven't we fought for equality now? Yeah, let's
Yeah,
watch them
equality.
go through 5 years of self-flagellating priesthood meeting and see how much they like being a man.
Yeah.
You know?
Equality, yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, I'm a little bit tired of hearing how great I am from men. So, maybe I do need a little humble pie or something. I don't know, Liberty Lady. Okay, Mr. Dung Beetle, gross, says, if I write and record a song about how bad I want to meet Jonah Barnes, do I get to meet Jonah Barnes?
It depends on how good the song is.
Depends on how good the song is.
Like, if
Ouch, you guys are harsh.
if it's a banger, then we might just have to buy him a plane ticket and he'll have to do
Yeah.
it live. Oh,
Yeah.
have you seen the funny cinnamon roll song?
No.
Oh, I tried reaching out to this girl, but she doesn't have an email address listed on her. I just saw it on Instagram. So Instagram,
Oh, the bless these cinnamon rolls.
cinnamon rolls, bless
Yes, I saw that.
these cinnamon rolls. I sent it to you, Jonah, and I was like,
Yes,
we
I
need to
saw it.
make these fluffy cinnamon rolls.
Okay, well, hold on. T. Omner says, Jonah, Key to the Keystone Part 2? Question mark.
Is done.
Oh.
Is just waiting print, actually, yes.
All right. Let's
Okay.
hear this song.
Soon.
No, do the next super chat.
We
I'm
are
putting
caught up.
You are caught up? Okay, cool. So, Jonah, are you able to... Actually, no, I got it right here. Copy. Gonna stick it in the Discord. So copy and then paste. This is fire, dude. This was so freaking funny. I'm going to pull it up right now. I don't think I can get copyright struck because it's an original song and it was posted on Instagram too. So it's please nourish and strengthen these donuts And here's the video right here. Her name is, I want to make sure that I get this right. The account is Emily Susan Pack. So here's Emily Susan Pack, and we're going to start this over.
Lord bless.
Wait, no. I got to refresh here. Give me a second. Refresh. Emily Susan Pack.
To please nourish and strengthen these donuts. Lord bless, but carry me on my way. Won't you please nourish and strengthen these donuts?
Oh, she's got it.
To eat on and lean on in the latter day.
This is epic. She keeps going.
I love this.
I pray that the sprinkle's gonna strengthen my bones, and the icing gonna carry me home. Oh, jelly-filled. Oh, peace be still.
Jelly-filled, peace be still.
For the world that's been cruel to me, unable for Bavarian cream, all sanctified. The deep, deep fried. Won't you please nourish and strengthen these donuts?
Dude.
That was awesome.
This girl is a legend. What's your name? Emily Susan Pack. I want to do a collab with you on this song. I will get a stake choir to sing backup on you in front of a grand piano.
Dude, absolutely.
Like, could you just imagine just a choir, like she's like, I wanna, what is it? Nourish and strengthen. And the choir's like, these donuts.
Oh, yeah.
That would be. Emily Susan Pack, you're funny. I want to make a comedy album with you and Jonah and me. You just reach out. I tried reaching out to you earlier today, so now I'm reaching out. Hopefully you got friends that watch the show. But that was hilarious. Who knows? Maybe she's a raging progmo, and she makes like this big statement. It's like, I would never contribute or associate with anybody on Ward Radio.
Yeah,
this is an absolute.
Maybe she's making fun of the fact that people bless the donuts.
Yeah, should we do
She's got a sense of humor. She's one of us.
Yeah, I was about going to say, anti-Mormon rule number 9, I think, is the first thing that goes is your sense of humor, right?
Yep.
What rule is it? Is it number 9 or is it number 10?
I don't know if it's 9 or not, but that's in there.
Yeah, so if you got a
It
sense of
certainly
humor,
does.
probably not anti-Mormon. Oh, look, she says, Emily Susan Pack, mom, survivor, musician, producer, Jesus loves you. Awesome.
Wow.
And followed by Jeff Limford, one of the Limford twins knows her. So we're going to have them on the show, too. If you're unfamiliar with the musical duo, the Linford twins, they're freaking rad. So anyway, keep going. Jonah, more memes, my man. More
All right,
memes.
so this is my last one, and then I got to go put kids to bed. But this right here is will only if you saw the talk, you'll understand it. This is the Friends meme.
Okay.
Saying, your sibling doesn't know what a bite feels like. A bite feels like. Your sibling doesn't know what a bite feels like. Bite my sibling. from a talk where learning by experience, and all the parents out there were like, "Oh, this completely makes sense."
Before the punchline even came, every single parent knew where it was going.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Okay,
So that does it for my memes, people. That does it for my memes.
Last two super chats, and then we got to go. Interesting question here. If you got a jam right now, feel free to jam, my man. We got these last two super chats here. I think everybody would like a response to this one. Polly Nikes asks, other than divine identity and worth, men and women can't be equal. Equality within evolutionary psychology / behavioral genetics is a myth. Change my mind. That's a lot to put on a change my mind poster, Polly Nikes. But that was a very, I will go back and analyze it. It sounded very erudite, and I'm sure it's correct because you are an academic and I think he has his PhD, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, no. What? He does? Oh, no. I really like Polly Nikes.
I go, savage.
Don't say that.
Don't say that. Then finally, definitely not Obama. I wonder what his political leanings are. Says, how are we supposed to contend for the faith without contention? Seems like so many people interpret that teaching like we should all be doormats.
Good question.
I think there was an episode on that somewhat recently.
There was, but
self plug there.
dude, there was. You can check that out. Please do check that out. But also, I'm getting, hopefully soon, Kurt Frankham on. We've had some really interesting and deep conversations in codependency. Do you know what codependency is?
Yeah, everybody talks about it all the time.
I wonder how you you mix that with contending for the faith, honestly, because I get
basically, in a nutshell, and we'll go over this. I think this Jared Halverson situation is a perfect example of codependency. Codependency, what? If I boil this down to an oversimplified answer, it's basically you not being able to be emotionally strong on your own. You're dependent upon the emotional feelings of another person. And our lack of our ability to stand firm in our own beliefs is leading us to be codependent upon others. And those others and those bad movements have figured out how to weaponize that codependency. It's the reason why nice guy syndrome exists. And if you read books like How to Not Be a Nice Guy, or even Kurt Frankham himself says, I'm a recovering nice guy. That part of nice guy syndrome is actually being codependent upon others. You can't feel good about yourself until they feel good about you, which leads you to make concessions, both moral and physical or financial, that you wouldn't make if you were stronger and more independent. So ironically, everything that was taught about independent women part 3 in feminism in the 70s and 80s really needs to be learned by men right now, where they need to be able to say, look, so-and-so is struggling with something over there. Like they don't get yet that I don't owe them money, or they don't get yet that, you know, X, Y, or Z thing is happening, but I know I'm right and I'm not going to be a jerk about it, but I'm going to be strong and resolute and I'm going to go to bed and sleep just fine, even though they're not. Instead, you have these people that are up at night losing sleep until these activists feel good about me. And those activists know that as long as they're never satisfied, they will slowly get more and more and more and more and more of what they want, because you have a bunch of weak, paper tiger, codependent men running the show that can't survive emotionally on their own. It's a weakness. And so all of the books on how to be a more self-actualized man are oftentimes the very first thing they address is nice guy syndrome and codependency. And so,
That's
yeah.
interesting, because that actually reminds me a lot about like the concept of boundaries, which is something that I was for a long time, until my wife and we read this book by these Christian psychologists on boundaries. And it's like Townsend and Cloud, like Dr. Townsend and Dr. Cloud or something. Super good. But it's just like what you were saying, like the concept is essentially that as Christians we sometimes and as Latter-day Saints for sure, we get this idea of like, oh, boundaries are bad because we're putting up boundaries, we're keeping people out, and we're saying no to serving others and stuff. But the concept is pretty simple in that you keep the good in your boundaries and you keep the bad out of your boundaries, or the things that you can't handle. And a lot of men, they have no concept of the ability to say no, or even that saying no can be good, depending on the circumstances. And so there's a huge problem, and I'd definitely love to hear what Kurt Franklin
like saying no to doing something, or saying no to thinking something, if that makes sense.
I would say more the doing something. So the idea with boundaries is it's figuring out what is you. Because a lot of times when people have boundary issues, what that actually means is that they have a hard time, they have a very fuzzy line, or sometimes no line at all, of what is them and what is other people. And so like what is their responsibility, what is other people's responsibility, and things like that. So you see this in like kind of the classic example is like an over enabling parent, and the parent is just stressed about their kid, and their kid isn't behaving, their kid isn't learning, and their kid turns into this adult that's just living in the basement, they're not doing anything, and the parent's just like, well, we just gotta love him more, we just gotta give him more, we just gotta support him more. But in actuality, they haven't set boundaries and said, okay, child of ours, you are responsible for you, and we are not going to keep bailing you out. And this is where the enabling parent comes in. That's a boundary issue. And the same can go with men that aren't able to say no to other people. In this case, you could say the nice guy has no sense of boundaries between what he is responsible for with his feelings and what other people are responsible for with their feelings. And so that's where you get a guy that stays up till 3 a.m. worrying about what other people are thinking, because he doesn't realize that's not his responsibility. He can say, I these are my beliefs, and if that offends you, I sincerely hope you find peace. And if you want to have a discussion, we can have a discussion, but I'm not going to let myself lose sleep over that, because that would harm me. Why would I do that? And that harms my ability to, like, do good things, like take care of my family. And so that's something that a lot of us need in the church, because we've grown up in a culture that doesn't teach us how to do that.
Well, it's because all of the tough guys, like, they civilized the West. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't teach toughness because they were busy trying to manage what they had civilized. And so just to give you an idea, and this is obviously a topic for another show, but he recommended that I read this book, and it's probably going to be in preparation of hopefully a podcast that we do. I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth. It's not like he's agreed to the itinerary of a future podcast. I mean, he's the guy that told me about this book, right? But it's called Dr. Robert Glover, No More Mr. Nice Guy, A Proven Plan for Getting What You Want. And that's funny. Love, Sex, and Life. Wow. I guess he knows how to market books, huh? But anyway,
Now,
what's so interesting about this cover, hold on. What's so interesting about this cover is I know it was an influential book, just like Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I know it's influential because look at this cover. It's a very interesting kind of cover. There's been 15 other male self-help books in Amazon that I've been recommended now ever since I just bought this one for homework for this podcast that use that exact same theme on the cover because they're trying to ride off this book's coattails. So even visually copying the cover, they're doing it. And what's interesting is when people are codependent, do you know what one of the number one reactions are? Generally, they're so codependent until something goes wrong and they can't hold it anymore, and anger. So when Russell M. Nelson says, like, hey, we need to not, I think a lot of people are angry online, and Russell M. Nelson is aghast at this and keeps saying, blessed are the peacemakers, because you want to know who the best peacemaker is? A very confident man. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And a warrior in a garden knows how to make peace with another person in the garden. He knows he does not have to go to war because it's a garden, not a battlefield, but he has to become a warrior first. And so I think part of being a peacemaker is also becoming less codependent and more confident in what you represent and stand for, right? So Luke, you were going to say something.
I don't want to bash on the self-help books too much because I think they're very helpful and some of the science behind it is very helpful. But I think one of the big things that can help people is art, because we don't exist as statistical absorbers. We're not ChatGPT. We're not AIs. We're humans, and so we exist inside of narratives. And so making sure, and this is why I think it's probably good for the church to move away from more of like the watch PG movies and not R movies, into more of like a watch movies that have the right message, or give you a slice of reality rather than a constructed political vision of a woke Hollywood producer, whether that's a PG movie or an R movie. Probably don't watch those, and instead things like Westerns or some of the great, exactly, some of the great pieces of art. No, I'm seriously though, teach you how to be these things within narratives. And so if you expose yourselves to the right stories inside the scriptures and in the arts, it can kind of teach you and shape you into that kind of person through intuition rather than through like more of the technical step-by-step A to B to C that a self-help book might give you.
Okay, last super chat here.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Last
I cannot
super
emphasize that enough.
So the last super chat here before we got to go, I think we'll all appreciate this. Brittany, can you read this last super chat? I know Luke and Jonah will definitely appreciate this as well.
Okay, the film Glutton says, just tuned in to another amazing show. Orthodox Christian, but huge fan of Ward Radio. Keep on representing Christ in your way and keep us laughing. Where's the Star Trek jokes? Star Wars? Boring.
Thank you. See, the ortho bros get it. The ortho bros get it. This dude gets it. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
What is it? Live long and prosper or something like that?
Yeah, live long
Yeah.
and prosper.
That's the only Star
Yeah.
Trek thing I know.
Yeah.
That is also the only Star Trek thing I know.
Yeah.
Well,
Sweet.
if he is a film glutton, as his, not URL, but as his username suggests, and he's an Orthodox Christian, we can see why he's a fan of Ward Radio. And I bet you the film glutton gets all of these different movie quotes that fall upon your deaf ears.
That's
know?
right, because he's cultured, because he loves Star Trek. He's a man of culture. No, the ortho bros are awesome. You know, they get overlooked so much. The Catholics act like they're the only ones. They're like they're the only
It's
ones
true.
around. You know, they were just like it's an island. You know, but there's a whole world of Orthodox Christianity. Cool dudes. I serve my mission among them. Cool dudes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes evangelicals act like they're the only ones around.
In North
No,
America.
evangelicals act like they've been around for 2,000 years. That's what drives me crazy. They're like, well, remember Matthew 16. I'm like, bro, you guys are younger than my grandma. Don't pretend like you're around.
It's like back in the day, they just like got together and read their Bibles and just like had a good message. Like, no, they didn't.
Dude,
They didn't
our
even have
prophet,
Bibles.
Russell M. Nelson, is older than evangelical Christianity in North America. You know, like it's like when the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints can look at you and be like, "Get out of here, new kid." You know what I'm saying? That's when you know that.
Brittany's phone is older than evangelical Christianity. That's how old. That's how young it is.
Oh,
See?
savage,
right, Brittany?
savage. Okay,
This
cool.
reminds me.
Last
President
one, and then we got to go.
Nelson.
Yeah.
President Nelson, as of not very long ago, has now been alive for over half the church's history.
Jeez.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
because
you're
the
right.
church is less than 200 years old, and he's over 100 years old.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
and he can probably remember half of it.
You know, at this rate, I'm not sure he's ever going to die.
Yeah.
This
true.
could be the last prophet we ever have.
That's true. Jesus comes, it's over. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
Could be
saying?
the
could be
first
the last
translated one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
right.
savage. All right,
You know, when he
guys.
dies, I want to see the body. I got to see it. Okay, because I don't know. That's like when Marjorie Pay Hinckley died. Really? They expect us to believe that she just died like a normal human. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
about
that's
that.
funny.
Just
You
you
guys
watch.
are
It's
great.
going to be a closed casket funeral. They're
Yeah,
not going to show us
right.
the body.
Yeah, you know.
And
it.
the
Oh, yeah,
people
he's-
carrying it
he's
are gonna like let
passed
go.
on.
And
All right, dudes. Before we go, please make sure you guys check out the wardradio.com merch store. We got a bunch of War in Heaven veteran hats still in stock. Probably got about 12 or 13 left. If you guys don't want some merch, but you'd still like to contribute to the channel, please consider, after buying a shirt, checking us out on Zelle or on Venmo. You guys can look up Ward Radio on both those platforms. And another really cool way that people have recently been helping the channel out, I was actually just starting to read this, is on our Amazon wish list. We have a public wish list where you can purchase, and it heads straight to the studio, items that we need in the store, whether it's books for research, whether it's common chords that oftentimes fail here, or pieces of equipment. The Amazon wish list has been actually a super awesome way of people helping us out. I gave him a shout out earlier, but hey, why not give two shout outs to Mark D. Holmberg, hooked us up with the book Temple Theology and Introduction by Margaret Barker. And we've had all kinds of other really cool items hit the Ward Radio Wigwam this week that have been super helpful. So thanks to everybody that has been helping us out by getting items in the Amazon wish list. In fact, actually, I need one of those 4 terabyte hard drives that's in the Amazon wish list to transfer a bunch of footage to my editor from a recent trip to Egypt with Go and Do Travel. So if somebody's feeling generous and they want to hook up with that 4 terabyte SSD, that'd be awesome. We'll give you a little shout out here on screen. And if you don't, you can actually give it anonymously, but that's a great way to contribute to the channel. Other than that, thank you very much, Jonah, for hanging out with us. Thank you very much, Ethan, for hanging out with us. Thank you very much, Luke, for hanging out with us. It's been real and it's been fun. Oh, wait.
Thank you,
Brittany,
Brittany, for hanging out with
yeah,
us.
thank you,
Oh, no.
Brittany. It's been real and it's been fun, and it's been real fun for this and more. Please make sure you guys check us out at wardradio.com.
I built a rocket in my basement. I'm gonna fly it to the moon. This supersonic is amazing.